Welcome to the Nick and Matt Show, bringing the player interviews you want to hear and the hot topics you want to discuss. Recording live in studio, here's Nick and Matt.
What's up, everybody? It is the Nick and Matt Show, except Nick is flying. So Evan's sitting in host seat 2. What's up, Evan?
I don't look as good, but I'm here in place of Nick. I get introduced to the show like 2 minutes ahead of time, so it's pretty cool.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Nick was traveling from Virginia up this direction to the snowy land, which we got snow all day up here. I'm sure you did too, Evan, up there in New Hampshire.
Yeah, like over a foot. I'm sure you guys did too.
No, we're far enough, like an hour and a half south of you. I think we probably got maybe less than half. So.
Oh, wow. Oh, the hills of Leicester always get some snow.
They do, specifically Maple Hill. If I sometimes get an inch or two, sometimes you go to Maple Hill and they've got 6. It's crazy. And I'm only 5-7 minutes away from there. So, yeah.
Hey, I feel that. I've been to Maple too many times where I'm like, there's an inch on the ground and you get there and it's like, nope, we're playing in deep snow.
But so Nick was on his way up here, but he got stuck in the airport down in Virginia. He said he was hanging out with the Foundation boys, which I don't know if that's true or not, but they were flying out, I think per Brody or somebody saying they were going out west. So people in transit are all sitting in the airport. Nick wasn't able to make it because of delays and everything else. So we are going without Nick tonight. We've already got a great live audience. And I'm sure those of you listening in post are a great post audience as well. We're always excited to have you. Let's start out hot. Casey Whiteleague dropped with Pound Disc Golf this week. Said he was on Discraft's signature team. And immediately the flags went up. What kind of leak is this? Where's Casey going? Wait, isn't he with Discmania? And I mean, did anybody buy it?
I don't know if anyone bought it. I mean, it was kind of confusing, but it was signature team. And if you know, like Discraft doesn't have a signature team. They have elite team and tour team. So I was like, that feels like a mistake just because of that. And all signs point towards it. I think Casey's staying with Discmania. It's still like trickles a little bit enough where you don't know.
We can start it now.
What's true and what's not.
He's taking Simon's spot on the Discmania team.
Yeah, I would put money on that he's staying with Discmania.
All right, so that's kind of a joke. You saw them correct it. Their big apologies. But in today's age of, big rumors and leaks, it was kind of exciting for a second there. Not I want to say a very well-known name in disc golf. It's been around a long time, but not a top 20 player. Nate Perkins. Sometimes you'll see him there, but Nate Perkins announced, or did he announce? I think he did. Departure from Discmania. We know he's left Discmania. I don't remember if his announcement came, but that is something that he's now going solo, is my understanding. As in, like, I don't know that he is signing with anybody. I'm not quite sure, but that's interesting. Cole Redolin just announced. I don't know if you saw that, DGA. So
that's a sneaky good move. I didn't like Cole signed with Infinite Disc last year. I guess I didn't know if that was a 1-year deal or not. I wasn't even thinking about Cole. Then all of a sudden DGA drops. I'm like, DGA? Like, hey, they got Katrina and Andrew Marweed, which we'll get to him later, but 2 great names. But then the rest of their team kind of lacks that depth. And Cole, hey, he could have a good year this year. Watch out.
Yeah, Cole going to DGA. It's funny. People are already making their articles and everything. Hey, the off season's over. All the moves are done. And like, no slight to Cole. But like, yeah, under the radar. How about a long time name, KJ Nybo? So if you've been around, you've known that he's made a lot of, awesome moves in the sport. Been with Innova, I think the number was 16 years. He just announced this week that he is departing ways with Innova, but a new sponsor is going to be lined up. So we still have another announcement. Now, I don't think people are chomping at the bits to hear where KJ's going, but it could be a Discmania. I mean, is that weird speculation? European player and leaving Innova, maybe.
Yeah, enough people probably know him as KJEU now or something. I don't know.
Nybo.
That's a joke, of course. But yeah, it's kind of this interesting trend of players who, they're still quality players, but they're past their prime. Getting kind of, I'm trying to figure out the right word, but getting a sponsorship deal because like from maybe a smaller company who is trying to make a splash and maybe they can't afford a player in their prime, or it's just their marketing choice. And so he's very well known in that area. He's still playing too, winning tournaments, whether it's an MPO or an age protected. So his name is still out there, and it could be a really good signing for a future company. We'll see.
Yeah. So that is some of the off season as far as still movement goes. I mean, I'm not quite holding my breath for Discmania's announcements. And I say announcements because when we had Eagle on 2 weeks ago, the ace up the sleeve. Now that could be just total marketing. It's going to be a disc drop or some other thing, a big event that they're going to run. But I'm still kind of like, what do you mean? I texted Eagle, and if you're in here, Eagle, I texted you right after. What does that mean? It's silence, crickets. And I was like, all right, it's something. You can't talk about it. And this, after the whole thing with Simon and all, like, people are like, no, can't talk anymore, which it's a topic for another time. Or our lips going to start getting way tighter after this off season compared to next, right? So we'll see. Let's go ahead, intern Ben, if you can, line up a phone call. We've got live calls that we're going to attempt to continue to incorporate here, and we will put it up later as well. We'll put up a phone number that you can text. That's our call screening way. Text your idea, text your topic, text your whatever. Not whatever. Text
semi whatever.
Yeah, text your interest in disc golf, how to get better, whatever you think of that's disc golf related. We're going to look at it. Intern Ben's going to look at it.
Yes.
He's going to filter it.
I'm the intern.
He's going to set up the phone calls, and then we will take the phone calls and we'll incorporate you as much as possible. So we've got that. We've got Paige Shue on tonight, very soon here, actually, in the next 10 minutes. And then later, Isaac Robinson will be joining us. We have a lot to talk about, Evan, including, can you give us real quick, Shelly Sharp Memorial? Now, this is just like the warm-up. This is like the slight teaser to the season starting. Yeah, it's not really it's not the Elite Series. It's not a Silver Series, but it's out there in Arizona. Can you tell us what happened there? Anything interesting?
Yeah, it's at the Vista del Camino course, which a lot of people know because it was one of the courses that would host Memorial, which used to be a national tour and a disc golf pro tour event. But this year we saw maybe a surprising name for some in an open Arizona event being Andrew Marweed take it down an MPO. And then Jennifer Allen takes it down an FPO, which is a little bit less surprising, being from there and dominating that area. Andrew Marweed, he led the first round by 5 strokes right away, which was like, whoa, what is going on? If I'm being honest, that took me by surprise. A lot of good names in the field in MPO, including Adam Hammis, Drew Gibson, Aaron Gossage, Anthony Barella, Kale LaVisca, Luke Sampson, who's currently leading the Disc Golf Pro Tour points. A lot of great names, and Marweed jumped ahead right away and held on to that lead, takes home his victory, or the victory. It's his 5th A-tier win of his career. It's only his 2nd win of any tier west of the Mississippi River. He's from Michigan, lots of wins in Michigan and kind of surrounding Midwest area. He won the Kansas City Wide Open last year, which was his first on the Western U.S. if you're splitting it by the Mississippi. And Jennifer Allen won by 23 strokes.
Nice.
There might not be a lot of recognizable names in the FBO division in the field, but there was Maria Oliva, which a lot of people know and is a very good player herself. Unfortunately, got bested by 23 strokes. Jennifer Allen now has 12 FPO A-tier wins by a 20-plus stroke margin, which is incredible.
Okay. Thank you for that warm-up. I think it's fantastic. People are going to enjoy that. They jump in the Nick and Matt show. They get it in the front side, what happened at the previous weekend's event. That's what we're going to get going, guys. If you're new to the show, that's what we do. We started out that way all year. You'll get that. And then hopefully you'll get the relevant interview lined up with a storyline from that weekend. I do want to give one shout out here to, I've brought his name up before, and he's a fan of the show. Their whole family sits around, listens to our show live often. There it is. That is not a coincidence. As I said the words, Wyatt Mahoney Disc Golf in the chat says, I'd love to go to Arizona to play. I need a job. Shout out. This shout out was coming. This is not planned. So Wyatt Mahoney of Team Disc, not Discmania, Dynamic Discs. He went down south from New England and he played in Charleston, Battle in the Pines. It's a B tier. a name you would recognize. Why am I messing it up? Jason
Jake
Hebenheimer. That's what it was.
Jason or Jake. He goes by both.
Okay. In PDGA, it's Jason. But yeah, Jake Hebenheimer. We talk about his putting style, right? That's one of the things we've always done.
Yes.
And then
incredibly good driver.
Austin Turner. You recognize the name, not so much as of late, more years ago you did. Both 1,018, 1,023 rated players. Wyatt Mahoney, 13-year-old, goes down there and gets second place in MPO, beating Austin Turner and only 2 strokes behind Jake Hebenheimer. 13 years old, laying down fire. The sky is the limit for him. Congratulations, Wyatt. I know it's a second place, but that's incredible. So good job to you.
Matt, you and Nick have been talking about Wyatt for a long time, and I'm always like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. This is the moment where I'm like, this might be the most surprising. I mean, maybe not surprising is the right word, but most notable. Yeah, most notable. I'm like, okay, this kid's for real. He's no longer like a kid playing in a regional MPO event. He's beating names we know and holding his own with Hebenheimer, who got to the tour championship play-in last year. He's like, Hebenheimer's not some just random guy who tours anymore. He is legit. He is one of the top 36 players in the world, or at least in the Disc Golf Pro Tour, his tour.
Yeah, representing New England.
Yeah, if you can hold with him, like at 13 years old, bright future, and it'll be exciting to watch.
And to be clear, he just turned 13. So, I mean, like, he's 13, but he's not like, I'm about to turn 14, you know.
12 years and 370 days old, yep.
Okay, so let's move into, do you got the call lined up?
I got the call. He's been waiting for a decade.
So
just kidding. We
got to just unmute him here. Welcome to the show. I don't think I got a name, but you have a topic for us. If you're hearing me on a phone call, you are live.
All right. Hey, first time caller, long time listener.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I was just actual question. Did any of the pro players know that they were going to assign points to the European Pro Tour like this, or did they just do it because of Paul going over there? Okay.
So sit tight on that one because you might have a follow-up. And Evan and I have been invested in this today at a fairly good level. If I text Paul's going to say he knew nothing about it. And we saw that actually. If you've watched online, Drew Gibson texted him about it. Paul does not acknowledge any awareness of it. And he actually made a joke to say, if I knew about it, and it was kind of a roast. If I knew about it, do you think I'm actually going to partner with him to make them all Silver Series? You know, like, is that what Paul McBeth's going to do? Right. So like that wouldn't have swayed Paul's decision at all, in my opinion. But secondly, did any of the players know about it? Well, we'll be able to ask 2 of them tonight, but we also, based off of Drew Gibson's answer and his text and his back and forth with Brody Smith, and Brody Smith didn't know about it. You have to believe that none of the players knew about it, but, and there's a big but there, just like with the Simon Lizotte leak, there are people who are in the know. It's very possible that there are people who heard about this. Very possible. But unless the Pro Tour comes out and says, I told X, Y, and Z person, we're never going to know. So my understanding is nobody knew about it. Paul made this decision on his own. We're going to talk about this topic a little bit more. So do you have any follow-ups on that?
Not really. It's just a bit of a hot take. I think it's probably a good thing for disc golf, especially European disc golf all around.
You're saying you think that the tour being made silver over there is a good thing for the sport?
Yes.
Are you saying it's a fire take as in drama? Let's talk about where there are inside deals happening.
Well, I'm pretty sure we'll find those out, but I think it's good for disc golf, especially European disc golf, and maybe someone can accumulate enough points to make it feasible to come over to the U.S. and play. So.
All right. Well, thank you for your call. We're going to actually talk a little bit more about this, so you can drop and listen if you want. But thank you very much for the call.
Well, thank you.
Okay. So, Evan, I'm gonna pose this to you in this way. First of all, points. How much do you get for winning in a Silver Series?
So they changed it for this year before the wraparound events started, and they're bumping up the points to now 50 points for a win for silver events, which it used to be 25, which
compared
was
to an elite series,
which is 100
points. 100. So half the point.
And it used to be a quarter. Now it's half, but it still only counts your top 3 events or top 3 like most valuable points. So If you win 3 events, doesn't matter if you win 4 or 5 or 6.
Right. You could play 15, but they're only going to take your best 3. So I feel like in my mind, this is a bigger situation to talk about. We have 3 minutes to do it, but here I'm going to give my take. You give your take. My take is that right now, the Pro Tour announced, we got the email. I don't know if everyone gets it. Probably if you're a DGN member, DGPT media person, you get it. But they announced broadcasting select 2023 PDGA Euro Tour events. Fantastic. So much disc golf. 7 more events added. They're all being Silver Series. That's incredible. It doesn't start getting funny until people start thinking about it. And it crossed my mind, oh, that's nice. Paul's playing over there. But the difference is when you take that news and you say, wait, there's always something fishy going on. And you say, well, if that's the case, there's always something fishy going on, then maybe Paul knew about this. But that's out of thin air, trying to make something out of thin air. That's my take. If the Pro Tour was doing this to favor Paul McBeth, then it feels a little wrong too. But again, that's kind of pulling it out of thin air. Now, if the Pro Tour became more aware of the fact that there was opportunities to film and to expand their brand, then they should do that. I do not see it as having to be the Pro Tour is trying to benefit Paul McBeth or Paul McBeth knew and was trying to benefit himself. My final take on that, and I'll pass it over to you, is that is he benefited if he knew it? Yes. But if he didn't know it, is there that much of an advantage where people can't change their schedule right now and go? If they think there's that much of an advantage to playing a Euro Tour event, they can change their schedule and go. In fact, I think you're going to miss an Elite Series if you play all the events over there. So the point is, I think there's enough time. I don't think there's anything sketchy going on there. That's my take. What's yours, Evan?
I will say, first off, I don't think any players did know about this. I think Paul was truthful in the screenshotted text message from Drew Gibson, which, to be honest, I thought was fake at first. I thought Drew was messing with us, but maybe it was true. I don't know. But many other players replied back to other things or wherever else, and like you said, we'll ask 2 more today. I don't think any of them knew about it. I think the Pro Tour came up with this just from the staff. It may have been recent. It may have been in the works. But I'll tell you this: I think Paul McBeth is going over to Europe purely because he wants to play some new events. He likes Kona Peach Day. He probably likes those other events or is interested in them. Wanted to go play in there and grow his brand and Discraft's brand in Europe. He honestly lost the European Open last year. He might have a chip on his shoulder. Hey, I got to get the European market back. They need to know I am the best. I'm going to go show it to them. Now, think about the Pro Tour's point of view. Paul is willing to miss 3 elite events or 4. I don't remember exactly how it is. He's willing to miss that many events to go over and get 0 points, lose out on the Disc Golf Pro Tour's coverage to go play PDGA's Euro Tour. If I'm the Pro Tour, you don't like that. You want to have your most marketable player, which is Paul McBeth, be in your spotlight. So this is a perfect move for them. They have a player who's very marketable who goes over there. They want to broadcast it to people. Hey, you can watch our US events, which are still fantastic, but you can also watch Paul McBeth over in Europe, and maybe a few other players play there or notable European players. Now, the points thing, I think, is the biggest question. Paul was, again, saying, hey, I don't care about the points. He's going to finish top 8 by the end of the year no matter what. He's going to get that bye in the Pro Tour Championship, and then it's all equal play. He was giving up the points. Again, Pro Tour, I don't think they like that. Not that they hated it or anything. They want to do the best job they can. So now he can earn points, or any other player can earn points in Europe. I think it's a great strategy overall. It says, hey, if you want to miss out on elite events, again, which are twice as important, and much more of them count. You have 8 that get counted out of, what is it, like 10 or 11, where silvers, it's 3 out of, I think there was 8 or 9 in the US and Canada, and now you have 7 more in Europe. So most of them are going to get dropped if you play a full schedule. So I think it was a great move. I think it is a little questionable that it happens a month before the season, after the 2 wraparounds already happened.
Can we change the wording there, or are you stuck on that? Questionable is not a word I'm going to go with.
Right,
unfortunate.
What's your word?
Unfortunate, because questionable tends to have this spin on it that there's something going on. Unfortunate is like, man, it took them too long. Everyone announced their schedule. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, and I think kind of my last point is, The Pro Tour, young company. I mean, it started in 2016. We're so new compared it to like the NFL, which has been around the 60s, or Major League Baseball, which has been even longer. PGA Tour, not as long as the MLB, but very long. All way older than 2016. We're still growing and learning as a sport, and the Pro Tour as well. They saw an opportunity to have a series of events over there, events that are already happening, but have points and broadcast of it. Huge opportunity to take advantage of. And I said one more point. I'm going into this. The European Pro Tour opened up last year, had a live streamed broadcast. Definitely wasn't up to Disc Golf Network quality, but you were watching live disc golf and it was good and it was growing the European scene. Disc Golf Pro Tour is like, whoa. European market's big. We want some of that. And the PDGA Euro Tour, based on players showing up to events, was struggling a little bit as of late in the European Pro Tour, jumped on the scene, had really good fields, had good money. Pro Tour kind of wants a battle. I mean, in the kindest way possible. It's good for everyone else. Fans, players, it's good for everyone. It's exciting time.
I was just going to say, it's a win for the sport. It's a win for the fans. I think yes or no, Evan. That's it. We have a guest in the green room. Yes or no. Do you think Paul McBeth would have chose to go over here regardless of points at a Silver Series or not?
100%.
Okay. All right.
100% yes.
Yeah, okay, so that was a yes. All right, we've got to this point in the show where we're going to bring in a guest. We might talk about that a little more later. It seems like it's interesting. If we have some callers, we'll do that. But we have a guest lined up who I know many of you are excited about. We've got a good live audience going right now, so let's go ahead and bring in world champion Paige Shue. Welcome to the show, Paige. We're happy to have you tonight.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad this all worked out. Our computer systems are a little weird. We resent the link, and there you are. So I'm glad it's working out. So you've been showing up in more social media. You've been showing up in some podcasts. You winning tournaments. Things are starting to turn on for you for disc golf. Do you feel like they turned off for a while back after you won the world championship?
Yeah, definitely. Things slowed down. Well, 2019 was pretty full, but towards the end of the year, I got married, so that kept me busy. And then COVID happened, then I had a baby, and everything just like came to a screeching halt. So yeah, I'm excited to be back into it and playing again.
So the last time we saw you at your full absolute peak, I mean, Worlds was towards the end of the year, and then you said 2019 you're playing, but do you feel like your last peak as Paige Shue was right around Worlds?
I don't. That's tough. Maybe. I mean, early 2019. I mean, I won Vegas in 2019.
Yeah,
I
great
was
point.
pushing, battling with Katrina. Had a couple wins throughout that year. I finished fourth in NT points in 2019. I thought I played really consistent and steady. So I don't know. Those 2 years were pretty close to the top.
They were, and I'm glad you brought back to my memory 2019 Las Vegas Challenge, because, and I want to know how you felt about that real quick, but from me watching, I said, that is all I needed. She won the world championships and she just backed it up. Hats off to you. You are an amazing disc golfer. So is that kind of what you felt? I mean, we saw the video in that moment winning Las Vegas.
Yeah, no, absolutely 100%. Even though some people still do think it's a fluke that I won.
No way.
But I feel like, yeah, I backed it up and I had a good season, and it's just been a few years. Disc golfers just have short memories and they just care about the most recent tournament. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Is disc golf in your mind, and I think it is for me, but is disc golf like riding a bike, as they say? Like, you took some time off, but like you're starting to warm back up again and you're really starting to feel it, it seems like. Does it feel like everything's just clicking right back in place?
I would say so. I just really didn't play much the last few years just because of my daughter, and literally just getting back out there and getting the repetition over and over again. It just came natural, and it helps that I've been playing for friggin' 16 years or something like that. So that helps.
And to be clear, you have more than one world title in you. What's your junior world title? How old or what division was that then?
So it was 2010. So I think I was 13 or 14. And it was in the junior girls 16 and under division.
Okay.
It was the same year Ricky won his junior world title.
Oh.
And I think Seppo won a junior world title that year too.
So you're familiar with the world titles. Do you remember that, by the way? Now that I'm interviewing you, my son won a world title last year. 2022 in the 8 and under. And Do you remember that? Because now I'm just interested in what he's going to think as he grows up. Do you remember that being a thing? You're like, I'm a world champion at something. Like, do you remember that?
I do remember that, and at that point, I'd been playing disc golf for a long time anyway, and I'd seen the World Championships. So, like, of course, I was antsy and so excited to compete and play. And when I won, yeah, it was super cool. None of my friends at the time were really into disc golf, so to them, it wasn't really a big deal. But to me and my family, it was very exciting.
Cool. And Evan, I know the show, the kind of last minute, we had some tech stuff, but you're totally welcome to cut in if something stands out to you. So I listened to your other interviews, and I wanted to bring an interview to our listeners. We probably have a lot of cross-platform listeners, and they're going to be like, I love it. I've listened on both. But I kind of want to expand on some of these topics that I heard on your other interviews. And you talked about, and by the way, for those who don't know, you moved from dynamic discs to Discraft this year. So that was a significant move. Maybe just take a quick minute to talk about that. I mean, you've been with dynamic discs your whole life. Your dad is a relevant part of that organization, that company. What was that like? Give us the shorter version or the long, whatever's relevant to you about that move.
Yeah, no. I've been with DD for so long. I would say 99% of why I switched was I really just wanted to change, wanted something new, kind of a new phase in my career. I felt like there were more opportunities out there for me. I'd never really tried. I had just always been with Dynamic. And I just felt like with my dad working for the company and me being there so long, I just got comfortable and like kind of had trouble self-advocating for myself. And I just felt like leaving and reaching out to other people and seeing their interests and having me speak up for myself and be like, hey, I think I'm worth this. Like, love to play again. All these things, it helped me grow as a person as well. So that was why I wanted to leave DD, but Discraft, it seemed like the best option. They support their players. They have great discs, and they were really excited that I even reached out to them. So it worked out.
Okay. You mentioned they support their players. I think in the interview I heard you talk about Discraft treats their women the best. So what does that mean to you?
Oh, I mean, I guess looking at it, it's great that they do treat their women awesome. I'm benefiting from it. But just the fact that they're willing to treat me awesome, even though I hadn't been playing in a couple years and my relevancy, wasn't super high or anything. It just means a lot. Like they're paying me and they're providing me with an RV to travel with my family. They knew that was important to me. And just like I brought up these things and they were like, yeah, sure. Yes, yes, yes. Like so easy. And it just took me getting the nerve to even ask. But anyways, yeah, it's super awesome to be like working with a company that not only does that with me, but like so many other players, especially women.
Yeah, I mean, from the media and outside perspective, Discraft is slaying it in a lot of ways. But that stood out to me because I know you were searching around. It sounds like you had some ideas in your head. Maybe I should ask so-and-so or this company or that company. And you thought to yourself, Discraft. Is that the first one you went to and that was it?
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't too interested in other companies. When they said they were interested, I'm like, oh, all right. Like now's the time to jump.
Now is the time to jump. So, I mean, with all these leaky leaks, as Simon Lizotte has coined it, I'd be so interested in knowing about deals and details. But you're getting an RV, we know that. But how are they treating it? Like you're a world champion, and you've done that within the last 5 years. Like, how are they treating you? Are they treating you like a world champion?
It seems like it. Again, I've only been with DD, so seeing like the culture and how they treat players and I guess the only other company now that I know is Discraft. So how they do it, it's very different. I lost my train of thought. Can you tell me, because you just led to a great point. Can you tell me what are the differences that you see? Because you said it's very different. What are some of the differences that stand out to you? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, it's hard because with DD, I really wasn't traveling or anything like that the last 2 years, but this contract with Discraft in terms of money, it's kind of a lot. It's some guaranteed money a month, which is super nice, especially now that I have a kid. That's important. But with DD, a lot of it was, social media and, run events when you can and just kind of do all these other activities. But with Discraft, they really just want you to play. and that's all your focus is on. If you want to do events or posts, that's great, but you don't have to. You're still going to get paid. And it seems like they really care about your performance, and it's clear who deserves what. Because like as y'all saw, I'm not on the elite team. There's like a certain like formula you have to meet to make the elite team. And since I haven't toured in the last couple of years, that's why I'm not on the elite team. But it seems like I'm getting treated like the elite team in terms of money and the use of the RV. So, and the opportunity to move up to the elite team is obviously there if I have a good season. So those are some of the like big differences.
So if you have a 6th season and they're going back to Smugs and you win a world championship, does that put you in the criteria to meet their elite team? Do you know?
I would assume so.
I would assume so.
I would assume so. Hopefully.
We'll all chant for it if that's no, I'm kidding. But that's awesome. So you mentioned something else that you're reinventing, I think is the word you used, yourself. I don't know, maybe that's exaggerating it, but besides changing your sponsor, I'm sure you have more in your head about what this means. Like all of this change, you're talking about reinventing yourself. What goes into that besides just a sponsor change?
Yeah, I think priorities, now that I have a family and I have a child, tour life is going to look very different. And, as y'all can see from the outside, the tour life is a struggle, like people playing week in and week out. And it's like your value is almost like in your play. So if you suck for a weekend, you're like, dang, I'm like the crappiest person ever. I hate myself. It can turn that kind of dark. And especially when I was younger, which was a few years ago, my early 20s, 26 now. So, the fact that I have other things outside that, I'm realizing and are more important. And then, taking a break. I'm not playing every single elite series. I'm playing a couple here, a couple there, alternating with my husband, Grady. So I think also like being able to reset and not be worried about, I got to play well this tournament and this tournament. It's just, I don't know. It's just like less pressure. And then also, the saying, you don't know what you got till it's gone. The last 2 years I've loved raising my daughter and it's like the best experience ever and kids are awesome. But, I miss disc golf and now that I'm able to do it again. It's like, okay, like it's a lot less crap. I have to play well. Like I have so many expectations. It's like, man, I'm so happy to be here pursuing disc golf as a career and also spending time with my beautiful daughter and my husband. And I just feel like all these different parts are going to flourish. And yeah, it's just a new chapter. It was disc golf and then it was just being a mom at home. And now it's a combination of both and two of my favorite things. So that's kind of like what my focus is on this year.
Okay. And disc golf, this, it's at a different place than it was when you won your world championship. I mean,
yeah,
you probably experienced a lot of benefit of social media, follower engagement, everything. And maybe you kind of feel like you might have missed the boat a little had you won your world title right in the pandemic. I bet it would have been even a larger explosion for you. But that's great to hear. I mean, that is fantastic that this is now the lack of pressure for you in touring. So you mentioned, I think I heard 70% is maybe the number you threw out there. You're going to be touring and playing. Do you think this idea of having to hit and grind every single event is something that maybe you used to do, but now you just don't have to anymore? It's a different, disc golf is different now.
Yes, I would agree with that. But if I didn't have a family and I was still just a competing disc golfer, I would still try to go hard and hit every single event. I mean, why not give yourself as many opportunities to win, to place well, to cash? So if I was familyless, I'd probably still hit the grind. And it's crazy. There's like more tournaments now than there was when I was playing, and all these people are still playing every single one.
It's crazy.
I'm like, dang, that's a lot.
So let me follow up that then and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not competitive at all, 10 being a highly competitive person, where do you rank yourself? And this is not just disc golf. This is just you as a person, 1 to 10.
I'm up there. I would say 8.
8
or 9.
You can go close. Half numbers, 8.5.
8.5. I rage when I suck at things. Usually disc golf, it's a little different, but like ping pong, I love playing and I'm super competitive. I mean, putting games out in the backyard, any kind of games, I'm like, oh, let's go.
All right. So if you come through the MVP Open at the playoff, have you ever gotten a chance to play ping pong up there in the barn?
I have been to Maple Hill so many times, and I don't think I've ever played. I've
Okay.
definitely watched a couple games, but I haven't played myself.
All right. It's because you didn't want to rage and go into your round. That's
Yes,
awesome. Yeah, ping pong's a blast.
so fun.
Evan, you got anything?
Yeah. So,
Putting
I
him on
mean, you
the
mentioned
spot.
MVP Open. You haven't been there for a couple of years. In the last 2 years, you've only played Dynamic Disc Open, Idlewild, and Ledgestone. What event on tour that you used to play are you most excited to get back to?
Ooh, definitely Smugs. I mean, it's nice that Worlds is there, but I'm so excited to play those courses again and be up in the area in that time of year when it's cool in the mornings and nice and sunny, and just so many awesome memories there. So I'm excited to go play the course again, especially with different discs and like a different approach mentally. And yeah, that's the one I'm looking forward to.
I almost feel like that was too easy. That's my bad. Can you give me a number 2 then?
Number 2. Oh man,
I want to make you think a little bit at least.
I know. Waco, probably. Waco is an awesome course. And then in 2019, me and Katrina were battling it out, and we were tied for first going into the final round. And I had won an NT Las Vegas, and I hadn't won a Pro Tour yet. And I was like, all right, this is my weekend. Let's go. And Katrina ended up beating me that round, and that loss like still haunts me to this day, if I'm being honest. Like, it hurt my heart. So I just want to go back and play. And that course is, it's like the winners are always unique. It's kind of like just something special about that place. So there's one to win, might as well be that one, because it's like so many different types of players can win that one. So I'm excited to hit that track again. The Beast is super fun.
All right. I don't know if you heard any snickering, but we have an intern producer here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
He thought something you said was funny. Ben, do you care to tell us what that was? You don't even remember?
Oh, sorry, did not mean to do that. I meant to do this. I thought it was funny how you said it still haunts you to this day.
Okay.
It's sad.
Well, you don't think it's funny that it haunts her. You
No,
thought
it was funny how she said it. It's still, I'm not gonna lie, it still haunts me to this day.
I heard him
I know I'm
snicker.
dramatic.
That's where the 8.5 competitiveness comes from.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry I brought you in. I mean, I'm not sorry I brought you in.
It's okay.
I just heard snickering and I'm off camera and everyone thinks I'm laughing at her. So
I'm a snicker, guys. I'm sorry if you hear my laugh. I just laugh at everything.
Okay.
Ever.
So touring with, and do you say touring or touring? Like, I don't know. Nick says something different than I do. What do you say?
Touring.
Touring. Okay, you do. Touring.
Touring. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's probably weird. People like know a lot about you, but like, did you grew up out in Minnesota or family or I don't know. Where'd you grow up? Midwest?
Yeah, I grew up in Denver, Colorado,
Okay.
Aurora, a suburb of Denver. Yeah, that's where I learned to play disc golf, and then I moved to Kansas for college. So
the reason
Colorado's
I said
where I'm
Minnesota was the Viking. I think your dad's a big Vikings guy, right? Like football.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
just putting everything together. I was trying to figure out you say touring, I say touring. What does the chat do? I don't know. But you're touring, I'll say it your way. You're touring with your family in an RV. Have you ever done that before? Your daughter Savannah, have you guys ever done that like long term in an RV before?
Nope. So this will be brand new, but the way we're doing it is we're doing it a few like stints at a time of no more than 3 weeks. So we'll do 3 tournaments out, come back home, later do 3 tournaments, play local stuff, leave the baby with Grady's family. So we're not going to be like full doing it for months at a time. We're definitely trying to just figure out how it's going to go, kind of tiptoeing and making sure that, we're not getting in over our heads and that Savannah doesn't hate it and is absolutely miserable. So we'll see how it goes.
Are you watching like YouTube vlogs and stuff on people traveling, or you know enough people you can ask and get insights, but not a lot of them have a kid traveling with them?
Yeah, no, I definitely have YouTubed a lot of stuff, and there's really not that much out there, surprisingly, like, RV with a toddler. So I feel like that's an audience I could maybe, reach to.
Yeah, because you need more to do while you're on the road, I'm sure. Well, maybe during the drives. So what is it? You brought up, your family, Grady, all that. You're both hitting the road. You're going to compete different ways. But I'm interested. So husband to my wife, I have 4 boys. He's got a daughter and he has you as his wife. What is it like for him has he told you, like seeing you getting a lot of, I'll use the word, the shine lately? Like you're getting the interviews, you're getting a lot of attention. Like he must be proud. But like, what does he say? He's like, look at you.
No, he is proud and he's so supportive and he's excited for me. He knows how much I've wanted this and it took a lot of time for him and I to figure out what the future was going to look like. And so we finally settled and he's supporting my dreams. I'm supporting his dreams. We both are just jumping in and, we both want this. So he's awesome. He's my number one supporter.
Awesome. And it's weird to ask a question about him without asking him the question, but what are his dreams that you're supporting? Is it disc golf?
Yes, disc golf. If it was up to me, I'd be playing every single event. If it was up to him, he'd be playing every
Okay.
single event. So, compromise is what marriage is all about pretty much. So that's the plan for now. And,
Let's
down the
go.
road, he has a great season and, with the money in disc golf now, like if he gets a good offer, I don't mind taking a step back and spending more time with Savannah, letting him tour full time. But we don't know what the future looks like. So right now we just got this year planned and we're excited to see where it takes us.
Okay, dream scenario though. Dream scenario. We don't know where it's going to go, and maybe you're not someone who likes to look off, but perfect world. Are you guys touring for the next 10 years? And or whether you're touring in an RV, but disc golf is your future forever. Is that your goal?
That's a tough question.
Is that what you would want it to be?
Yes. But I do think that having children I just feel like it's not as possible as I would like it to be, but who knows?
Who knows?
But the perfect dream, yeah. Grady and I both win everything, and we both keep playing, and we can just take Savannah with us everywhere, and it's just perfect.
Ride off into the sunshine, hitting putts. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Cool. No, that's awesome. Yeah. What do you got?
I got another one. So what are your goals for this year? Are you someone who is a little bit I just want to play well and have a good weekend and improve? Or are you I need to get a win this year. My goal is to win all the time, no matter what I'm doing, or in between?
You're right. In between, it's so hard because I have won in the past multiple times. So I'm like, it's there, but will it happen? I don't know. So in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I'd love to get another Elite Series win, whether that's a pro tour or major. And I do think I have it in me, but I'm also not getting my hopes up too high. And, I think I can have a decent season. Just being consistently in top 10 seems pretty doable, but I don't know. Those are the two that are kind of in my mind. Consistently top 10 and hopefully coming out with a win, but not getting my hopes up.
Okay. Well, you are a very, I don't know, the chat's really loving it. A lot of people are saying you're one of their favorite players. I love watching you play out there. It's been a pleasure to watch you play out there. I think you're exciting. You personify what disc golf should be, I believe, and you do it well. No pressure. I'm sure when you became a world champion, this will be my last question. When you became a world champion, did you feel any different level of oh wow, I gotta be the ambassador for the sport that I haven't been? Did you feel any different pressure?
No, actually, I didn't until the last week before Worlds. I wrote out a social media post and I was like, I kind of as the world champion was representing women's disc golf in the top, at the very top level. And that literally didn't hit me until I was literally writing that post a week before the 2019 World Championships. But no, I didn't think about it, just keep playing disc golf and try to win and have fun and keep doing what I've been doing for the last million years, it seems like.
Right. And I think that just speaks volumes, and it should to our listening audience as well, that you were the right person. I'm someone, by the way, I'm someone who was quoted on this show early on in the years of our show as saying a fluke when somebody won. There were times where I would say it. I believe, Evan, you might have been here. I never said that was a fluke. So congratulations. And it wouldn't have mattered had I said it was a fluke, but that's not something I've done. But now I could put Evan on the spot. One of our recent shows. He's sweating bullets now. Here, put 2 up on us or 3 up. Go 3 up or 4 up.
4 up?
Yeah, it's 4 up. Fine. Okay, here we all are. Evan, when we heard about Paige Shue making a comeback, if you will. Is that what you're calling it, Paige? A comeback?
Yes, I guess.
Okay.
Sure.
When we heard this comeback, we were talking. We'll have to go find this episode and we'll have to replay it. We were like, hey, how do we think she's going to do? And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I put you in like the possibility of like top 5, like at the end of the year. Like that's kind of my mindset. Now, Evan, you can wipe the sweat off your face. I don't remember what he was saying, but I think it was like absolutely no.
I don't think it was absolutely no. I'll be honest, Paige, if you finish top 5, it will surprise me, but I think you can do it.
You have to do a bet. You have to do a punishment.
Okay,
Oh my
sure.
God.
You have to.
If I ever have a hot take, I am rooting for people to prove me wrong.
Okay.
I will always say that. I just think the women's field has gotten so good, and it'll be an accomplishment to be top 5 with how many great, fantastic players are in there. I didn't say you couldn't be number 6. I will say that.
Okay. I said last question, but this will be the wrap up. You can respond to that, but also like, where do you see yourself finishing? Like if you had to pick a number, like you've probably thought it out.
You mean like by the end of the
Sure.
year? Like
Yeah.
my
By the end of the
ranking
year,
or
like do you see
something?
yourself like in a top list? Like where do you see yourself? Like as the potential. You don't know. You can't read the future. Like where do you see your potential?
I mean, I feel like top 8
Okay.
isn't too crazy.
Let's go.
So okay.
That seems doable.
There you go, Evan. You guys actually might be thinking similar, but we root for better.
I like top 8. I think that's a good one. It's okay. 5's an arbitrary number that people put to kind of be the top, but I think top 8 is doable. There's also a lot of great players in the top 8, but I like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything you want to talk about? Shout out any new relevant sponsors to you. You don't have to, but the floor is yours before we let you go.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's so exciting with Dynamic. I couldn't really have tons of outside sponsors. So with Discraft, they're like, yeah, do whatever you want. So I'll start with my list. So Discraft, obviously, super supportive. And Bob Julio is like the coolest guy ever. So that's awesome. Squatch bags are the best bags on the market. Drive bags for hands. I got Putt Confidently, the new Champ Cap tool that kind of helps you dial in your putting. They've been really awesome. Hyzer Die, shout out to Amy Lewis in Oregon. And I think that's it for now. So yeah, thank y'all for watching, and I appreciate the support, and I can't wait for the season to start.
Absolutely. We look forward to you coming through our neck of the woods. And if we're out there at any events, we'll come and say hi. So thanks for coming on the show, and have a good evening. Spend it with your family. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one. Peace out. All right, everybody. Paige Shue. That is the first time she's ever been on our show. Even post Worlds. Well, wait, 2018. Were we a show then? No, we weren't.
Yeah, you weren't a show then. So that's why you got the pass to not be able to say it was fluky. It's because you didn't have a show.
True. As I was thinking through it, I was like, you
wouldn't have said it anyways. Winning World, like, you can't call Worlds fluky. You just can't.
No.
If Worlds was like, if you played 2 rounds and 3 rounds got rained out or canceled or something, like maybe you argue it then. But
before we go to our next guest, Isaac, before we do that though, you just brought up something. Can you call it fluky? That's a whole nother topic, because I'll just give you one take. I don't remember the year, but do you remember Sarah Hokum? And do you remember a car accident?
Yeah. That was like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Like last round, advantage lead, car accident, gets stroked, penalized, all the whole 9 yards.
I think it was an 11 stroke. It was the largest comeback in major history, I believe.
Who?
And yeah, Sarah Hokum was leading, got into a car crash on the way to the event, made it late, had to get par +4 for a few holes, and ended up losing, I think, only by like 1 or 2 strokes.
Yeah.
It was pretty close.
Who?
Paige
Pierce. Okay.
So Paige has a world title that, in Paige, I say what I say, that I don't know if I'd call it fluky, but people like to give asterisks to things. It's all within the rules. So there shouldn't, like, the asterisk would be like, totally deserved it. Absolutely. Within the rules. But everyone knows it's like, like, what could have been? Like, how do you think Sarah feels about that? Like,
I think it hurts Sarah more than anyone. I mean, she still has a world title, so
yes,
it just doesn't make it sting any less. But as far as legacy goes, like, she won a world title. She has several major titles. It I would call it unfortunate, not fluky.
Okay. Oh, look, we went back to the same set of words. Unfortunate.
Is that what you said earlier?
It's questionable. No, but yeah, that's what I said earlier. Yeah. So we kind of like that word. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I just want to say this, and I am happy to get proved wrong. But top 6 right now: Kristen Tatar, Katrina Allen, Paige Pierce, Missy Gannon, Owen Scoggins, Valerie Mandohano.
Yeah, I know
that is a tough top 6.
Know.
Now, hey, 3 of those have never won a world championship, and Paige Shue has. I'm glad Paige Shue proved you wrong, but her 2019 to I'll say 2020 was very good until she got married and kind of stopped touring and probably wasn't able to practice as much, have a kid. Tons of top 5s, podiums, and whatnot. In just 2019 and 2020, I had it real quick: 17 top 10s in Elite Series and majors.
To be clear,
just 2019 and 20.
I didn't have it in my mindset that yes, 2019 was good, but my question wasn't so much like, is that all you did was win a world championship? It was more, the question was supposed to be posed off of, was that like the peak? Was that like the best that we've ever seen you? And it should have been an obvious yes, but I wanted to just to hear like, yeah, like
I see where you're going now. Yeah.
But when she said that, I was like, dang, yeah, I should have really said, and then you won these and these, but I'm glad she did. I can remember the thrilling feeling of that playoff and Las Vegas Challenge with her going to a playoff and winning with a great putt, the excitement. I was like, man, nailing the coffin. Like that was awesome. So yeah, glad she came on. That was a great interview. Good follow-ups by us, or by you, I should say, afterwards. This is great. And thanks for the input, Ben.
You're welcome.
I got to say this: Savannah Shue, fantastic name. I hope she wins a junior world title in the next, I guess, like 15, 16, 17 years. That'd be really cool. And eventually a world title as well. But Savannah Shue, future amazing disc golfer.
That's where I was going to go. I was going to ask her if she's going to do some family vlogs. I feel like that's pretty cool. I feel like no one really tours with their family.
She said that, but then I'm like, it's a lot more work than you realize. Ask Simon Lizotte.
Yeah.
But okay. Our next guest sitting in the green room, I believe I could quote him, but I'm just going to say it's a loose paraphrase of what I heard him say. Favorite Gannon Buhr vlog moment was in studio with the Nick and Matt show.
Wow.
But it wasn't like a live interview. It was a vlog production by Alden Harris Vlog. So you got to check that out on YouTube and find that one. But let's bring him in. Let's ask him about that, if that's true. Isaac Robinson, everybody. Welcome to the show. We give him the cool music.
Whoa. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Bro, this is like, this song is called Cool Guy.
That's him. Let's go. This is electric, man. I love this.
You like that?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the show, Isaac. Is it true what I just said?
Yes, I would have to agree with that.
It was funny, right? I mean, you knew our show, you've been interviewed on it, but then you were here and then it was a great moment, right? You liked that. It was fun.
Yes, I don't think I've laughed more in a long time. It was supposed to be like a little 10-minute skit video, and I think we were there for like over an hour.
Yeah,
just filming. It was so much fun.
Yeah. You guys are like, I hate to say college kids because I think you're not in college anymore, and Gannon maybe he's not going to ever go to college, but you guys are college kids. It's like 11:30 p.m. You're like, where's the pizza? Let's go. And I'm like, bro, I'm 37. I know it's not that old, but I got 4 boys and a wife, and I work in the morning. I'm like, let's go to bed.
That was a late night.
It's all good. It's all good. In fact, when you guys come through town, it's a pleasure. Like, it's fun to be able to hang out and say hi. So, and intern Ben's here. That was the one who was trying to help you out. There he is. Whoop, he's got his green screen.
I made the cut.
Yep.
That was Ben's favorite moment of his life. I will say Gannon Buhr imitating me, A+ moment. Like that defines my career right there as a non-player.
You got to give us give it to us, Evan. Put your face to the camera.
He did not win a major until he imitated
Kearns,
me.
do it.
That's come on.
My setup is not like that's so hard for me to do here. Just how the setup is. All right, thanks guys for doing it.
Go to 4UP.
Nice.
Go to 4UP, Ben. This will be more Whoa, why are you sitting so low?
What? Oh, it's because I just knocked the camera with my hat doing that thing.
All right.
There we go.
For anybody that's curious why this has become so casual to have an interview with Isaac, I don't have an answer for you. So let's just roll with it. It's just turned into its thing. People are like, is this how they do all their interviews? The answer is no. Go check out 120 episodes before. Something about Isaac. Let's get into it though.
All right.
I don't think we've ever even introduced a guest with music like that.
That was awesome. That made me feel some type of way. So good in a good way.
That's an exclusive for you, Isaac. So let me get the first question.
Awesome.
I'm laughing, thinking through even the vlogs that Alden did. Like, you've missed a lot of good, close putts. You hit a lot of massive putts. Like, disc golf in general is a strength of yours. But when you look at it, how great do you feel about, like, the strength of your putting game? Where do you rank it? As higher than something else? Or, like, what do you think?
I think, yeah, at this point in my game, it's definitely some of the, I would have to say the top skill that I have. Just the, like, when I step up to a putt, whether I've thrown a bad shot or a good shot, or if I'm close or I'm far away, there's just a confidence, and there's, like, I just know it's going to give it a bid. I know it's going to be close, and there's that confidence going to the putting green, with the practice that I put in.
The putt that's coming, I mean, there's a lot of great putts. In fact, we're going to talk about last year's season. I mean, we're going into this year, but I want to talk a little bit about last year so we can get hyped this year. A putting moment to me that just made me be like, I love sports. Like, you're one of those moments for me as Smuggler's Notch, the rainy round, hole number 1. Yep. You like back to back with Ricky. Like, what just happened there? Like, what was the mindset?
Yeah. It was, I don't know, because if I recall correctly, that putt was for double bogey, I believe.
You probably recall correctly, but like the moment of like, can it happen twice kind of a thing,
Yeah, it was definitely, seeing Ricky make that putt in the pouring rain, and it was like, well, I kind of need this putt. I don't want to take a triple on the first hole, so I just kind of tossed it up there, and it went in, and it made for a great moment.
Yeah,
that was probably one of the highlights of that round for me.
Yeah, well, it's a good highlight. Taking a double bogey is always great when you hit a big putt. But I'm thinking of others. Let's go back to, and Evan, you're gonna have to back me up here. Was it Portland Open? Yeah, it was Portland Open. That was kind of, to me, kind of a breakout event for you. Do you feel that way?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Okay, and we just talked about, you were sitting in the green room. You probably heard us talking about Fluky and all that. And I'm like, and I'm going to throw my brother. My brother listens to most every episode here. We had a DGN show and we had to go around and say, Isaac Robinson, is that a name we're going to hear about again and remember? Maybe I'm paraphrasing wrong. My brother's going to roast me like, that was not right. I'm throwing everyone under the bus. You can do that to me too, guys. Remember, you can do that to me too. But he said something like, no. And I was like, maybe, but probably not. I think your appearance seemed to come pretty quickly. Like, it was like kind of like almost out of nowhere that it seemed like that might be the case. Did you feel that way? Like, or were you like, no, people don't know what's coming?
Yeah, I think going into Portland, I didn't expect to play that well. But then when I ended up playing that well and being on lead card for 3 rounds, it just it was like a launching point to the rest of the year. Just the confidence and I know I had the ability to play well. And so it kind of just led me to that point of like, I can confidently, I'm used to it, I'm going to do it the rest of the year. So, yeah.
So, okay, use the word I think you used the word surprise there at Portland. So you didn't feel like you had aces in your pockets going into that event. You're like, people just have no clue how good I'm going to be. You surprised yourself.
A little bit, yeah, to some extent.
Okay.
I kind of went in there with the mindset of playing my own game and just playing as good as I could possibly play.
Okay.
And it worked out.
And it did. So then did you in my head, I'm kind of imagining, this is maybe a bad example, but like a superhero discovering their superhero talent, right? They're like, was that an accident? Like that I just lifted that car, right? And then they're like, the next time they do it, they're like, bro, like this is not an accident. Like I'm actually able to do this. Like, did that ever happen for you at any point? Did you have those questions? You're like, is this for real? Like, did that happen during last year?
Yeah, I think so. I think, after Portland, I was like, well, you guys use the word fluky. I was like, well, is that a one-time thing? And then I think it was lead card at the preserve. I was like, okay. I was like, I can get used to this. It's kind of nice.
Let's go.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead, Evan.
So if you polled an average fan and they said, and you asked them, what type of course is Isaac Robinson best at? I feel like people would say a woods course. I mean, coming from Georgia and getting Idlewild win. But I look at Worlds, you finished 14th. You mentioned Preserve, you finished 16th. And then your last 3 USDGCs are 15th, 8th, and 6th last year. So a ton of incredible good finish at, I'm going to say not wooded courses. I don't think that's a stretch. What would you say to that? Are you good at all types of courses? Do you feel like you have a strength? And then part 2 is, what is it about USDGC that you play so well at?
Yeah, so I think I really do enjoy wooded courses, first off. I think I do have a skill set for wooded courses. And kind of going along with that is a skill set for just accuracy in general. So the USDGC, where there's a lot of tight OB, and then the preserve, it's kind of wooded, kind of open, good mix. But there's tight lines that you have to hit, and places you have to land. And so I see one of the skill sets that I have is, it's certainly not distance. So I try to be as accurate as possible. And so that translates well into courses with woods, and then courses with a lot of OB, where I can play smart, play safe, and stay in bounds.
So do you think a lot of Pro Tour courses are more about accuracy with OB than they are just pure distance? Do you feel like there are courses that are just pure distance where you don't think you can compete as much?
Yeah, and I think if you look at my finishes last year, D-Glow was just terrible. And that's one you need a lot of distance. Ledgestone, even though Northwoods Black is pretty wooded, Lake Eureka, it helps to have distance. And I played pretty bad there. And then Maple Hill as well. Even though it's a very wooded course, I feel like it lends itself more to distance players on a lot of those longer holes. So I think I'm not very good at those, those 3 D-Glow and MVP specifically.
And then do you think there's any courses or events that make putting shine? Like putting is the most important skill.
Yeah, I think I just love putting in the woods. I don't know what's about. I don't know if the trees just create this tunnel where I can just focus on the basket. I don't know if there's less wind, but something about putting in the woods. So Smuggler's Notch, Idlewild, a couple different courses on tour.
Sorry, Evan. You're holding it down for us awesomely. We're trying to do a little bit on the back end. Keep going.
All right. Well, that's cool. Then I think Champions Cup, I'm just speaking off memory here. I think Champions Cup had some of the highest putting percentages on tour in the year. And it's a really interesting thing about the green. You might have more trees that obstruct your stance, but whether it's less elevation, less elevated baskets, or less wind, I do think that's really interesting. Well, you mentioned a few events that you might not have shined the best at. What event do you think that you maybe finished outside the top 30, let's say, are you feeling most confident for next year to bounce back and have a really good finish?
I think MVP, Maple Hill, that's one I really want revenge on, because I feel like I can do well at that course. I just didn't. I remember the weather being a little sketchy this past year, and
absolutely,
it was towards the end
sketchy.
of the season.
You're not lying.
Yep. So it was towards the end of the season, bad weather, kind of mentally checked out a little bit. But I'm coming back for that course. I'm going to get revenge.
All right. Well, I also just noticed this trend right now. So maybe it's nothing, maybe it's something. We can kind of unpack it. Out of a lot of your good finishes this year were followed up by maybe a subpar performance. At Waco, you finished 5th, followed up by 45th at Music City Open. You got 3rd at Portland Open, followed up by 36th at Beaver State Fling. 1 Idlewild, followed up by 42nd at D-Glow. and then second at GMC, followed up by 30th at MVP Open. Those are just tour events, to be clear. Is there any kind of trend to that, or is it just based on how the schedule goes and events and whatever else?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it definitely could be some of the schedule, but also I think specifically after the win at Idlewild, I got super excited and super not nervous, but I don't know, kind of expected just to play well all the time, and I took it for granted. And I kind of lost focus a little bit, at D-Glow, and whenever I finish well, that's something I'm going to work on this year is just keeping that composure all through, whether I'm playing good or bad, and not get excited or overconfident going into the next event. But that was something I learned this year that I made the mistake of doing.
Okay, so I'm back. I'm back, by the way, Evan. But keep going. I'm just letting you know.
I got another one, and then you can jump me. I'm on a roll, apparently.
Yeah, you're on a roll.
But let's talk about what your off season has looked like. Have you been in Georgia all off season? Have you been traveling around the southeast or wherever? And then what's your kind of schedule within that? Are you doing a lot of field work, a lot of putting practice, a little bit of everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've stayed in Georgia for the most part. I went down, played Myrtle Beach up in South Carolina, and then a tournament down in Savannah, but staying pretty local. Doing a lot of field work, a lot of putting, especially the past couple weeks. I kind of took a little bit of a break, and then I realized, the season's about to start. I gotta jump back on the training schedule. So working out, practice putting, field work, kind of rebuilding my bag for next year. Got some new discs, trying them out. So yeah, a lot of practice, a lot of putting. Just getting ready for the season.
How many putts do you think you practice a day? The last one, Matt, if you want to jump in after.
More than Ben Kenny.
Let's see. Oh man, probably 200 to 300 at least.
Let's go.
From the same distance? Are you moving around different feet, different heights?
Between 15 and 25 usually.
So yeah, on the putting topic, is it just more wrist or more fingers? Like I can't figure out my putt. What are you doing?
Don't tell them, because it's my only enjoyment of playing with them.
I shank my putts. I'm bad.
All right, Ben, we're gonna let you ask that one question. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Isaac, what do you think from your perspective?
I think for me it's more wrist. Just getting that pop, that snap, and that consistent release point. It's very important. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. My question to you is in relation to the, I don't want to call it disturbance that happened today in the disc golf world, but like Reddit and Twitter. Did you see any like back and forth about Pro Tour's announcement? Or do you stay away from it?
Was it the European Tour?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
I saw a little bit of that.
Was that your first what's the right word there? The first time you heard about that the European Tour would be available as Silver Series?
I did. Yes. That was the first I'd ever heard of it. Was this afternoon, I believe.
Okay. So there's an answer to the question that some were asking if touring players were aware of that news prior to today. And the answer is no. So unless you want to believe that others have special treatment, then you can do that, but there's no evidence for that. So cool. Well, we're not bringing you a conversation right now. I was just curious. You are currently, I'm interested, Statmando ranking system. Do you guys have what's called a world ranking system, or is it just tour rankings? How do you list that, Evan?
We list official rankings.
Official rankings.
So
I love it.
Do you need a link to it?
Well, you can just tell me where they place him. UDisc rankings place you at 11th in the world. Like those questions I was asking earlier, kind of leading up towards the journey that you've taken to get here. Almost from like, quite frankly, not a name that people knew to within like a good solid year's time. You're ranked 11th in the world. You're at the Tour Championship. You're playing extremely good, where now from my perspective, you've made such a solid performance effort that you have to believe that you're not an underdog. Okay, maybe against no, not against anybody. You're not an underdog. Do you feel that way?
I think I'm beginning to get kind of used to that feeling. At this, like we touched on the start of the season, but like kind of having something to prove, kind of coming out, starting hot, and then learning how to deal with, yeah, maybe I do belong in the top 10, and how do I keep that up consistently? It's taken kind of like a mental shift for me, to kind of get there, and I'm not there yet. I still, still getting used to that idea.
Well,
So
yeah, I'll hop in and pulled up the Statmando official rankings, and we have you at 7th. Actually,
even
interesting
better.
enough, you just moved up this week because we have point degradation, and over time, points lose value, and depending on how recent the events were. But you just passed Kyle Klein, who he won Idlewild in 2021, right? So that's
Yes,
kind of interesting. But it also does value what events you played. So players like can't say that word. Eagle McMahon played fewer events. He dropped down to 12th because of that. So there might be people who argue that he should be, up there as well. But take it what it is.
All right. So that just helped drive home my point. And intern Ben's distracted because
Yes, very distracted.
let's do it. Let's just go 5 up real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. How'd he get in here, everybody? Well, welcome to the show, Gannon.
What?
Surprise.
Oh, we
This
can't
is-
even hear him, though. You got to unmute him.
Not
man.
expecting.
No, he's muted. He's not.
Oh yeah, he's muted on the. Hold on, give me a sec.
No, he's not. That's not. We should still hear him.
Start
though.
talking, Gannon.
No, it's not coming through at all. So
What?
this
It's
is
your
good
life
though,
today.
right, Isaac? This is good. Like he doesn't need to talk.
This is great.
He can just sit
We
there.
can
Some
have
public
Gannon's
humiliation
reactions.
is always good.
Ben is doing weird things. That's all I will say right now. It's all getting screwy. Okay, sorry. Well, this is what happens when you try to change up a live show midstream. So
It's true.
it's possible if Gannon wants to talk. I don't know why, but you probably have to go out and come back in and see if your microphone's enabled or something, which is cool. This link will keep working for you, so we'll just sit here. So he's in the chat and he's like, and I think intern Ben's trying to set it like you can come in and all that, and like so. We're not going to steal the show, but what is it like being 7th in Statmando rankings, being 11th UDisc rankings, having the performances you had, and then having a friend like Gannon Buhr who is like 4th, winning majors, and you're like, dang it, like I can't be like the best friend in the group? Like, what is that like?
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a little rough sometimes because not only has he won a major, he's higher rated than me, but he's also like 7 years younger than me. So that just kind of adds to the humiliation, I guess. It's quite unfortunate.
Can we hear you now, Gannon?
Let's go.
We can hear you. So if you heard that question, like your buddy here, Isaac, is a pretty good disc golfer. Do you agree?
The luckiest player ever.
So
Let's get to this. Who wins more events in 2023? Let's say elite and majors. Is it a tie again?
Same time, like I feel like it just depends on the weekend. Like, I mean, you can have someone who plays like I could play like consistent the whole season, and then Isaac just goes and pops off at like 2 events randomly and just wins. So who knows? I mean, honestly, I don't think there's a great answer for that because I feel like we'll at least get one apiece, hopefully.
I would like to point out that I won an Elite Series before he won a big event. Silver Series aren't as impressive. I'm sorry.
Actually, I mean, I'm glad you guys are saying it, so I don't have to do it for you. But he's not wrong, Gannon. But do you want to talk about do you have any excuses for that? Like, is it injuries? We know you're injury prone. What do you have to say about that? You couldn't do it at 11 years old.
Oh, I was trash. Honestly, wasn't working hard enough. Apparently. I mean, Isaac, like everyone knows, Idlewild's like the most lucky course you can win at because it's just in the middle of the woods and there's no lines, and like he just got super lucky.
All right.
Which putt was better, Isaac's on hole 17 at Idlewild or Gannon's at hole 17 at USDGC? Both final rounds.
There's no question. It's mine.
I disagree. Mine was
What?
half the distance, and it was still better.
Bro. Oh my gosh. It was literally the same putt, basically. But mine was 15 feet further.
Okay.
I guess.
But my moment wasn't as big as yours. So
It's true.
They're both pretty big.
It's true.
They're good. They're good. You guys have done something I'll never do. I mean, that's saying something because everyone, thinks Matt should be able to do everything, but no.
Hey,
So-
Matt, if there's one thing you could do is make a big putt, and
True. Oh my
I don't know if you
goodness.
can make one as big as hole 17 at USDGC, but you definitely could make one as big as hole 17 at Idlewild.
So
I'm
there's
just kidding there.
To break it down, though, there's a difference between putting good and far and casual rounds and even like local tournament stuff or even our team challenge scene that we have up here. And then doing it in the USDGC, like like 50 feet at the USDGC to like maybe win, and like 50 feet to like just like beat your buddy. It's a little different, So
I would say it's easier to putt at USDGC.
What?
Like, well, Isaac knows this. Like, we're the worst players ever in practice rounds or casual rounds.
Okay.
We are maybe 1,000 rated on a good day on a practice round. Like,
Maybe.
And we also lose like 100 feet of distance easily. So Isaac was throwing 500, now he's throwing 400, and then I was throwing like 550, and I'm only going 450 now. Like, I mean, like if you put me at a local tournament, I'm not making a 50-footer. It's not gonna happen.
Interesting.
that is
I
interesting.
don't know if other people feel that same way, but I'm not even kidding.
I can't make a 50 footer at my local F tier, I'm just trash. So I'm trying my best. Again, you got to teach me. I've been watching that 7-minute clip
start somewhere.
of you putting. You say line up the elbow and snap like that. And I try and it doesn't work, Gannon. I'm gonna keep trying.
Well, using your wrist or
Real,
fingers.
Mine didn't work.
What? Are you using your wrist? He says fingers. You say fingers. Trust me, watch the video.
Yeah, fingers.
Okay.
Fingers.
And Isaac's all wrist.
For the
I feel like Isaac says he's wrist, but he actually means fingers.
I gotta battle it out.
Yeah, I get those words mixed up all the time.
I know. Yo, it's so similar.
It's so similar.
Let's
So
go.
I was talking about your vlogs earlier, Gannon, or not Gannon. It was the Alden vlogs, but Gannon was in it. And Isaac was in this one. And the moment in the Nick and Matt studio is one that Isaac says was an awesome, fun time. And Stat Mando here, Evan, when you weren't on here, maybe you were in the chat, but he's like, that impression Gannon did of me as Stat Mando is pretty good.
It was right on. It was
Right. My proudest moment of my my career. So thank you to that.
All right. So do you think the European tour, the Euro tour, now that they've announced Silver Series, is worth changing your schedule over, Gannon or Isaac?
No, I don't think so. I guess like for me, like I don't even know if I'm going to go to Europe yet, just because like I don't see a ton of value in it for only like 2 events. But I don't know. Whatever Isaac has to say, we'll see.
We'll see what Isaac has to say. Is there, let me ask it in a little different way. You can answer it that way too, but a different way. Is there an advantage to traveling over there to play Silver Series events? Is there an advantage to a player who chooses to do that?
There could be. I know Paul McBeth's schedule takes him a lot to Europe. And frankly, I don't know the European skill level enough to know like whether there's going to be good competition there or not. I imagine a lot of the European guys would be playing over stateside during that time, possibly. But yeah, if you had you're going to place like top 20 in a Silver Series over in the States, but then you can go to Europe and maybe consistently place top 10, maybe that's a draw for some people. It might be worth changing the schedule for.
Okay, you mentioned Paul McBeth, and we don't need to talk about Paul McBeth. I mean, I know that's relevant to what's happening in the disc golf world, but I think Gannon, you just said like you don't see it as you said you might see it as an advantage, but you're not saying it's worth changing your schedule over, so it's not that big of an advantage.
Yeah, no, and like what Isaac said, like, I mean, from what I know, I mean, obviously the best Europeans are coming over to the U.S. I think Paul's just going to win like every tournament. I feel like over there. From what I know, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's like a bunch of good Europeans I don't know about. I know there's a lot of them, but I'm just not sure if they're like the world class yet. But yeah, I mean, for Paul, like I think it's good publicity for him. I mean, obviously everyone knows Paul, but like, I mean, obviously, like if you can ever grow your presence in Europe, I think it's definitely huge, and especially Discraft. Like I don't see too much of in Europe, so I think that's maybe another move that he's working with Discraft on. Discraft in Europe, you think like Latitude or Discmania or something like that. So I think it's definitely a good move on his part to not just like maybe win a bunch of tournaments, but also get his popularity a little bit higher overseas.
And to get to how good the players are over there, I mean, I'm gonna shout it out. Stamando has a field strength metric, and the lowest Pro Tour season event in North America was the Butler County Disc Golf Classic for MPO, which was 20.45 points. The largest that was purely a European Tour event, whether it was Euro Tour or European Pro Tour, was 13.25 for the Yarva Open. So a good amount less than the lowest silver series. Of course, you had PCS Sula, which was actually the lowest silver series of the 2022 season, and then a few more wrapper round events were a little bit lower. But we see them being considerably lower, and then the major that's over there, the European Open, that people know of, is total field strengths around kind of what a silver series level is. Again, and you won Masters Cup.
So I won the European Open. I won the European Open, basically.
It was a higher field strength, which, I'm not going to say is the most perfect system ever, but it gives us a really good idea. So if you want to brag about that, you can. I might not choose the same way.
Let's go.
So, yeah, I mean, just you're talking about growing your brand, and I'm posing this to both of you. Do you both have this mindset of brand growing to do? Gannon, you had an off the charts. I shouldn't say off the charts, but a stellar season. I could say off the charts, but I don't think you would agree with that. You'd say I got to do better. But a great season, and you're probably thinking about like, hey, how do I monetize this for my future? And Isaac, I just talked about how great your season is. Growing your brand is a big deal. Do you feel like if you did go over and prioritize playing all these European Euro Tour events, like you'd become a lot more popular in Europe, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I think that's huge, especially like I think I heard once there was a survey like 22% of kids in school, I'm not sure like what age it was, maybe like middle school, like said disc golf was their favorite sport, and that's equivalent to like football or baseball or basketball here if you ask the same question. And I think there's a high profit if you can grow your popularity in Europe, because I feel like in Europe it's even more dominated by younger people. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more kids that play, and I mean, especially like for someone like me and Isaac, like as some of the younger players on tour, I imagine like they look up to obviously the best players in the world, but they probably also look up to people that are around, closer to their age, just because it kind of can give them some, feel like that they can do it themselves if they keep working at it. So I think with that, our age helps a lot too if we were to go over there and grow our brand in terms of, how fast we could become popular and how much that would, improve our success.
Yeah. And do you feel similarly, as you're nodding your head, but like, where do you see yourself at with growing your brand?
Yeah, I think as a relatively new player on the tour, I'm still in the brand growing stages. So, people with established reputations, they kind of can sit back and relax a little bit from that side. But this next year and 2024 specific, those next couple years are going to be crucial in building the brand and getting my name out there. So it's very important.
Absolutely, it's important, and I think it's incredible that you're at this point in the sport where you guys are. And like, I've been playing it for 16 years. Gannon, you've been playing for how long?
6, 7, probably.
But the point is, you've seen the growth and the explosion. And Isaac, how long have you been playing?
I've been playing for probably 15 or 16 years.
Yeah, there you go. And you've done a lot more with it than I have. But the point is, yeah, where we're at now, it's incredible. And growing your brand, the opportunities you have, it's incredible. So we don't always do this, but we started recently screening phone calls, actually, so we don't have to put you on the spot with anything really weird. But we do have a live caller lined up, and we're going to give them the floor to actually ask a question that I think will be relevant for both of you to contribute your opinions on. They don't need to hear ours. So if you're hearing us live on your phone call right now, go ahead and give us your question. Hello.
Yeah,
go ahead.
my question is just basically I feel like 2 courses for tournaments is kind of a crutch for some players, and I'd rather see 1 course be used for basically every tournament and baskets be moved for, I don't know if it's a majority of holes, but 4 to 12 holes on a course. I've played a ton of courses around the country, and I look at something like Maple Hill, and we could actually have a moving day during tournaments as opposed to saying moving day and then not actually meaning anything.
Okay, can you elaborate just a little bit more what you're talking about when you say multiple courses being a crutch? Just break that down a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel, I hear a lot of podcasts, a lot of media folks talk about 2 courses and having that kind of balance, distance and open versus woods or park style or whatever. And I just think that's kind of a crutch, if you don't have the best well-rounded game to play, Maple Hill for 4 rounds versus GNC, which is Smugglers and Brewster. Yeah, I just feel like you're not the actual best player, I mean, it technically averages out, and that technically would show the best player on that day. But I mean, to have a world championship one year be a combined course for 2 courses and have it next year be, 1 single course, I think that would actually show a player that dedicated that year and knew that it was going to be in Brewster Ridge, and they said, okay, I got to get better at woods, as opposed to the naturally gifted long distance thrower or the naturally better at woods player, be able to kind of skate by on one side or the other.
Okay, stick around if you want to do any follow-ups here. I'm going to pass it over to get the opinions of Gannon Buhr and Isaac Robinson. I'll just give it to you. I have a thought on it, but I'm not the one who needs to answer this. Who wants to start, Isaac or Gannon?
Isaac does.
Isaac, go ahead. What do you think? What do you think about that? What do you think about that take?
So the question was, more tournaments should be single courses to kind of show who's the best at that course.
Yeah, well, yeah, it sounds to me like less. Okay. Yeah, you have to be good at that course. Like, no, oh, now we're going back to the woods where I have an advantage, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think in terms of being a player and having to compete on 2 courses, I definitely look forward to certain courses more. So, like the instance of Fox Run and Brewster Ridge, both of those are very different courses, but I look forward to them both. I look forward to playing them both, because sometimes I might not be hitting the lines great, so I'll be looking forward to Fox Run, and that'll give me a little bit of break from the woods. So I really like playing 2 courses, specifically like Ledgestone. I think it brings, if it takes more skill to win at 2 courses, I think, than it does at 1 course specifically, if I'm understanding the question correctly.
Yeah, and actually, I think that's exactly what the question was. To the caller, did he just say that correctly, where he said he actually thinks it takes more skill to play 2 courses? Did we lose the caller, Ben?
No, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think about that? I mean, I actually have the same opinion. We're not yet to Gannon, but like, they think it takes more skill to play multiple courses.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you played 10 courses in one day, that would take more skill. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Being well-rounded. So I've thought about this before, like rock climbing, right? And I did rock climbing for a period of time.
Well-rounded. Yeah. You can be well-rounded, or you can be specifically good at what the course asks you to do that one day. I'm a rock climber as well. I've also played golf my entire life. You don't play Augusta and a coastal course for the Masters.
But on tour, you want to see. Okay, so it's just a difference of opinion on how you want to see it. Because on tour, you do want to see all the disciplines, I'll quote disciplines challenged.
Yeah, I want to see all the disciplines challenged. I think like to the Smugglers and Brewster or Ledgestone example, like I think that's a better example for the tour to sit in a certain region for a better length of time, right? Like why not have one course? Why not have Smugglers for a 3-day tournament and then have Brewster for a 3-day tournament and actually dedicate that to that particular type of player that can be, you know, they have to be well-rounded to win 2 tournaments instead of 1 because they had a crutch because they were like, oh, I'm really good in the wind or in the woods. I don't have to throw it 500 feet.
Yeah, and I'll pass this over to Gannon for his opinion, but they do have other tournaments. It's not on the Pro Tour, and I know that's what you're talking about, but they do have what's called the Bro.
Sure.
It's the Brewster Ridge Open. So to your point, they could do it.
Sure.
There's a lot of factors that would come into play there, but I don't know. Your opinion just sounds to me like more like you just want one course per tournament. Not that necessarily it's easier or harder, but you want one course. Gannon, what do you think on this take here?
Yeah, I feel like for me, I prefer to play two different courses. That's definitely what I look forward to. And I feel like it does take more skill to win a tournament that has 2 courses, like Ledgestone or Green Mountain Championships or any Worlds. Like you almost never see, I guess you could call like a fluke winner at a tournament where you have 2 different courses, because I mean, there's always the argument, like people kind of got upset. Like I feel like when Eagle was winning, when we played a lot of ball golf courses, and obviously your body does limit you somewhat, I feel like, but I mean, Eagle's probably 6'3", I feel like, and you know, I mean, people were getting mad that he could just throw rollers further than everyone else, and like it was like an advantage he had, but it's really not, because you know he put the work in to be able to do that, and everyone could do that if you think about it, if they put the, you know, if they were able to, you know, change their game like that. So like for me, I feel like it's harder to win, and it's more impressive to win on a 2-course tournament. And I like the difference when you have like Woods and Open, or they could even, you know, both be open, but it's still a different mix of a different course you have to play. Yeah, I think it's really more impressive if a player can win a tournament at 2 different courses, because there's so many different shot selections, and you know, obviously there's players that have strengths on, you know, open shots, wooded shots, hyzer flips. Like I'm a flex player, but you know, there's players out there that are hyzer flip players. So, but you know, you can't really say there's an advantage to each player, because you know we're all given the gift to throw a disc, so we can, you know, put the work in to throw the shot we need to for that hole or that course. So I think for me, it's probably 2 courses is more fun, and I look forward to it more, and it's a little more impressive, I feel like.
Gannon, you definitely have an advantage. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, there is an advantage to Gannon Buhr. but I'm going to ask for the caller's sake. I think he's still on here, but I just want to say the follow-up here. The other idea, and correct me if I'm wrong, caller, I'm sorry I didn't get your name, but is that the idea of moving the basket? So let's say Maple Hill, for example. Maple Hill is 1 course.
Yeah.
People do enjoy that at some level. Some people don't, but let's go on Maple Hill 4 times in a row. What do you think about, like, yeah, let's move the baskets. Let's have an alternate position. Because like I like that idea best.
I think that's, you know, and I get the conversation for 2 courses for 1 course. I think both sides make a ton of sense. I think I would pair it with this topic of moving baskets, right? When I think of Maple Hill, when I think of other, you know, kind of stalwart, like single course locations, you know, Maple Hill, I don't know, hole 1, what is it? Hole 3, hole, you know, 14, 11, like all these holes that have kind of entries into the woods, or they're on a hill and you can put it behind the hill, you can put it in front of the hill for an easier shot on a moving day or something like that. That would add to the drama, it would add to scoring separation, it would add to opportunities, versus like, you know, hole 1 at Maple Hill, it's the same basket location every day. You know, you could move it out right at the opening of the forest that first day. You can make that mulch area a little deeper and move it back for the last day. I think of hole like 17, right? Like that one, you get up on the hill and then you have to drop down a little bit, kind of toward hole 18 tee box. Like, you know, you can pull that up to the front of the hill.
I mean, yeah,
So
and I know what you're going at.
Think of 1 courses and moving baskets being more kind of more interesting, more drama building. Yeah.
So let me just ask. The only course that's coming to my mind, and you tour obviously every course, so you'll see it more than I do. But USDGC hole 17, and maybe is there another or two there that do that, or just one?
There's a couple,
It was
hole
13.
18,
Mm-hmm.
or no?
They've done it in the past.
13.
18 changed in the past, but 13, like commonly known as 888, used to be like, I think there was 3 locations. There was one deep, one like deep right, and then there was one like on a short peninsula. And then they kind of, obviously 13 got changed last year. So they haven't done that. But yeah, other than that, it was just 17 would move like left and right, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any other courses though besides USDGC to that point, like are actually changing the layout to like have an alternate moving day, if you will?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
What do you guys think about that idea? I actually find that an intriguing conversation to
And
be
I
had.
think, yeah, and
Go ahead, caller.
I think of like I think of like Glendoveer and the Preserve and other courses like that where pretty amazing courses and properties. And I don't know, I don't think any other course other than ones you guys mentioned, which maybe have 1 or 2 holes to each, right? And USDGC was just in the last kind of 2 years maybe. But like Glendoveer, I mean, some of those holes are 1,200 feet long. Like shorten it to 950 and put it in this little bunch of trees, and then lengthen it to 1,100 on the last day. Put it over this pond, put it on the left side of the preserve on hole 1, put it on the right side at hole 1.
Yeah. Every course.
I think there's a ton of opportunities. Like
every
that.
course has the opportunity.
How do you practice that?
Well, hold on. First of all, we appreciate your call. What was your name?
My name was Brian.
Brian, thank you very much for calling. We're going to drop you off now, but we really do appreciate it, and we're going to continue this conversation. So what do you guys think about that? I brought up USDGC, but in my mind, I'm like, this is actually kind of interesting. Like, let's move the basket here and like change it. So you're playing one course, not officially different layouts, maybe a little different basket location. What do you think about that? Excite you, bore you, make you angry? What does it do?
I don't know. I like the USDGC. It feels, I don't know, feels kind of natural for them to do that because that course is kind of always changing. So there's a lot of changes going on. Yeah, sometimes it's very gimmicky.
Super lucky.
Yeah, you have to be super lucky to win.
You have to be super lucky to win, right?
Incredibly lucky. So I think what the USDGC does is kind of unique to itself. And I haven't, we haven't seen any of the other courses on the tour do that. And whether that's a good or a bad thing, I guess that's up to opinion. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be an interesting.
I'll pass this back over to Gannon, but MVP Open in Maple Hill, they are known for, and you're probably aware of this, but changing the course every year. A hole or 2 holes gets changed. New tee pad location, totally new basket location. They've done that every year. I'm excited for what this year brings. But maybe they could, I don't know. What do you think, Gannon? Changing it up on, like, let's say the last day or a third day. Like, I don't know. What do you think? Isaac shared his opinion.
Yeah, so actually, so I kind of help with like the design of the Des Moines Challenge course at Pickard Park. Just because like it was me and Titan at the tournament director. We live like right next to each other, and that's our home course basically. It's a little far from our house, but that's when we play the most. And we kind of had that vision that we wanted to actually change some pin locations for day 2. It's a 3-day tournament typically, I think that idea will work on courses like Glendoveer, the Preserve, USDGC, possibly Maple Hill. I feel like at the more open courses that don't have as much OB or maybe have super tight OB, that they definitely could use different pin locations. I'm thinking like Preserve, like a couple of the par 5s, like maybe you could put them in different, like a couple hundred feet from the other pin and like a whole different part of the hole. But I feel like there's a lot of like more like wooded courses where there's just like no point, and I feel like it wouldn't make too much of a difference. But I definitely would like that. Maybe on like 7 or 8 of the holes would be kind of cool. Like that way, it makes the course like pretty different. But at the same time, it's still like similar landing zones. Like maybe you keep like a par 4 landing zone similar, but then the second shot is where it really matters, or something like that. To where it's still, I feel like it would still need to work with the OB lines, because obviously you wouldn't want to like paint 2 OB lines, like having
Right.
like white paint for one day and then orange paint for another day. I feel like that would get kind of
Stop
confusing.
thinking ahead, Gannon. That's too smart. Yeah, I mean,
I
yeah.
know they're gonna do it now. I wouldn't be surprised. But it's definitely an interesting topic, I feel like. And I mean, I definitely want to see it at least one time for sure on have the whole course almost be changed. I think it'd be fun, and it'd be challenging to practice, and it would really show who put the work in to actually study the course, because that's something I've been doing a lot more. Is and I think that's what led to my consistent finishes and success last year. Was it might seem like I'm goofing around in the practice round, but I'm really exactly trying to see like, what disc is going to, throw good for this shot, or like I even, judge on how much the fairway might skip, or, really setting up the second shot in a par 4. So I think something, like changing pins could really add some more depth to the game.
I think an interesting to think about is in disc golf compared to ball golf, putting is a lot easier. So when people are designing courses, they generally put the basket in the toughest place to make a putt. I mean, we see LVC put almost every basket on a hill, so that way it's a little bit more elevated and a tougher putt. So if we're making these pin location changes, pretty much all of the one, I don't want to say all, a lot of them are going to come with making a second option easier. And so that's the trade-off is, do they want to make it easier where all the trends have been pushing the players further and further to make it tougher?
I mean, Evan, that's inherent. You're right. I think like at the basic logic of what you're saying, one would have to be easier for some people, but it might be harder for others. Like what Gannon was saying is keep the same landing zone, but now you have a forehand approach 300 feet as opposed to a backhand approach. Like that doesn't necessarily mean easier or harder, but maybe per player. But anyway.
No, I just think it would be consistently the same direction, and you would want it to be a mix of different things, I think. But also when it comes to moving days, I think the point in ball golf, I'm not really the biggest fan, but it's to make it a little bit easier because you have the whole field, and then once you cut, then you make it more difficult. So if that's the case, that's totally fine. It was just an observation that I had, that I think it's the way that we use putting greens. I think with Gannon's point that he was kind of making is, or I think he was making, is having almost a different type of hole within it, where it's not necessarily the basket moving, but you could also have a second tee where you're playing to the same green, but it requires 2 different shots.
So Maple Hill is primed. They are primed. They have like 4 tee pads on
honestly,
every hole.
there's a lot of chances. Like something as simple. Yeah, something as simple as, this
imagine
hole.
Okay, people don't know the iconic, like the non-iconic holes, but hole 7, right, at Maple Hill.
Yeah,
you can picture it. It's the road. It's the dirt path goes uphill. Okay,
straight shot.
But like if you move that over to the red tee pad, the distance is very similar. Not like drastic. We're talking 40 feet different, but it plays a totally different line, and you could go to the same basket. Like, again, we're talking a lot. I'm interested in Gannon and Isaac's perspective as they are the touring players. But again, just yes or no. What do you think? Would you be interested in them trying that at a few courses?
For sure. Yeah, I feel like if we could at least happen one time, just to test it out, I definitely I like the idea of changing the tee pad as well. The only issue with that would be like it could get like a little confusing for like practice days, because I remember at Maple Hill the course was so packed the whole day, it felt like, and you couldn't even like get off hole 1's tee pad unless you made a tee time.
True. How would you practice it? Yeah,
and especially, and then when you have people on you're on the same hole but you're playing a different tee pad, and then you have the FPO also maybe playing 2 tee pads, it'd get a little confusing with that. So I'd say
interesting
80% you could change the basket location, but maybe 1 or 2 holes you could change the tee pad actually, and it'd be amazing. Like it adds like a whole entire new hole, and it adds that much more like I said, depth to the game, I feel like.
So you brought up a great point. Again, that's why you're on the road. You guys know the practicalness of this, but take it for instance, and maybe it would be boring. Let's go, because we're so familiar with Maple, we could go anywhere, but Maple, hole 8, you're thrown over the water. Okay. For a while, you used to throw from what they called the white tee pad. Then over the years, they moved it to what was the gold tee pad. Then the gold tee pad became diamonds, and gold moved back to where you guys are now. That's the shot you're imagining now, is throwing farther over land, then over water to the island. But like, what would it be like? Okay, the first 3 days you're throwing from the shorter tee pad, like you're just moving up closer, like towards the water, like that kind of change on tee pad, Gannon, wouldn't really make an effect on practice or not. It's the same exact line, it's just shorter. So
Yeah.
but I hear what you're saying, and I think that's fantastic. Like you'd have to think through those things, but I don't know. Isaac, any closing thoughts on that topic?
I agree mostly with Gannon. I think that it would be cool to see maybe some whole changes on kind of the signature series courses. So like, you mentioned Preserve and Glen de Beer. And I think the practicalness, a lot of these courses, with the exception of a couple, don't have the amount of space they need practically to change the hole or change the course a
Right.
lot. So that certainly plays a factor in that decision. But I think it would be cool. I think it would bring some excitement to the courses for sure.
It's not like golf,
them up a
like
bit.
like you're saying. It's
Mhm.
it's not like golf. Like
Yep.
you can't move a basket 30 feet right, and it's totally different hole. Like you're still gonna have the same
Mhm.
landing zone and hit the same putt.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I feel like there's a lot of courses too. Like, I mean, I know I said like it wouldn't work amazing for Waco, but at the same time, like in its own way, it'd make like an entire different course. Because like I feel like courses like Waco, like they're almost getting outdated a little bit. I know like some players like for me, I love to play Waco for like a fun round. Like Waco's super fun to play, but I feel like when the tournament comes, it's like kind of like it's just like a weird course a little bit because you have like the 9 holes in the woods, 9 holes in the open, and then I mean it's really just artificial OB. It feels like when you get to the open, and the holes are just kind of weird. Like I think hole 16 on that back nine. In terms of the Pro Tour layout, because I know the holes are numbered differently for the actual layout that normal people play. But like hole 16 is wide open. It's like 600 feet. Like you should birdie that 80% of the time. I mean, I always expect to birdie it unless there's like a crazy wind. But like maybe you can move that because there's a bunch of room like up and left, or maybe adding like a Mando. Like you have to play because I know there's trees on that hole. Like you could put the basket way up the left, make it 50 feet longer, and then make a Mando like in the middle of the fairway. You have to go right of that way. Like you have to play it, a little trickier. So something like that, I think could benefit like those kind of courses that are maybe getting a little bit older, which we have seen. Some got taken off the tours, some are completely revamped. Obviously the game's changing and players are improving, new shots are coming up, and we're trying to push that skill level. So I think that'd be a good way to do it.
All right. Well, thank you to that caller for bringing that topic.
Yeah, that was deep.
It was deep. Yeah. I mean, hey, and I also appreciate the fact that he was standing his ground. I was like, hey, I don't know. We're all like, I don't know. And he's like, what are we
I do have one thing to
You-
say. I did say how would you practice, but then I realized you just have 2 baskets.
Yeah.
So I rescind that comment.
You can always tell a ball golfer when they have that take. They want to bring things from ball golf and bring it in here. Not that it's a bad thing, just it's noticeable and you kind of tell where they're coming from.
Yeah. Some things don't translate over. As we get closer to the end of this interview, I turn it back to Isaac for a minute here is like, what have you been doing to get ready, or maybe you're already ready for this season coming? Yeah, I mean, we're not that far out. What are your plans? What are your excitements for this year? Like to start.
Yeah, I think one of the highlights that I'm really looking forward to is the All-Star event. Kind of start the season. It's a huge honor to be invited to that event, and I'm so excited to go out there and just the format they're going to use with the 2 teams and the competitive environment. I'm extremely excited for that. So I'm kind of mentally preparing as I'm practicing putting and driving and just kind of getting geared up for that event specifically.
So the night before, are you gonna get like nerves and like I can't sleep and you wake up early kind of a thing?
Probably. I already have nerves. I'm already trying to work through them. I'm trying to get prepared to deal with those because if I understand the team format correctly, somebody's picking you to do a specific skill, and you really don't want to let your team down. So already mentally preparing for that. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Nice. I try not to abuse the privilege of having cell phone numbers, but I'll text you and say good job or razz you if you did bad. But no.
I appreciate that.
Oh, you appreciate it? Okay, then we'll just add you to our group chat, and then
Yeah.
we can all razz you.
Oh,
There we
Just
go.
kidding. We'll probably be like, wow. I told somebody today there should be a Patreon for our group text message between me, Ben, Evan, and Nick. It would be fire. People would be like,
You would
what?
pay a lot of money.
But you can only
Yeah,
view.
Me and
You
Matt
can only view.
We're about to throw fists at
Yeah,
each
we were
other.
throwing
Like, it was
fists
so
in a
close.
text message. It's sports, everybody. It's sports. Gannon, what do you think? All-Stars, nerves. Hey, you're done with school now. You're throwing beef jerky for fun. Like, what are you looking forward to this year? Is it going to seem like a new, fresh tour for you?
A little bit. I know like one of my goals this off season was to put on some weight. Obviously, I've got a bunch of comments about like, oh, he's so skinny. Like that's going to be the downfall of his career. So I've been working out a little bit and obviously trying to eat more. And I've gained 25 pounds since USDGC. So
Sheesh.
I'm on a good pace, I feel like. And so I feel like, and I've already noticed like I'm not as sore. So I think my performance level will be even higher, just physically. Obviously, I think my mental state is going to be just as good. But yeah, looking forward to All-Stars. All-Stars is I got invited to last year, as we had a couple people drop out, and I was like the second to last person to get in, and that was like one of the most like top 3 probably most fun weeks of tour because like it's super laid back. I mean you have like tournaments like the match play, which like matters a little bit. I mean, there's definitely a good purse if you win, but like it's not too important. But something like the All-Stars is definitely not important at all. But it's just it's a really fun weekend. Just I feel like for the players, that resort we were at last year and we're gonna be there again was amazing. Just wake up and walk up to the resort. We're in like these little hotel rooms and go chill by the pool, get some smoothies, and then you can go practice the course, which is like a couple hundred feet away from the main resort. And go there to watch some football games. And last year we were in the hot tub watching the Super Bowl, and that was super fun. So I think, and to especially have Isaac there too this year is going to be amazing because I didn't have really anyone there last year that I knew too well. But obviously that now that I've been on tour and I've got to know Isaac over the last year, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun just hanging out, and it's a great time. Get out of Iowa. We got like 8 inches of snow right now, and it's it doesn't get above 20 really. So I can't even go outside and practice. So right now I'm just like, okay, I hope my discs fly the same way they did when I ended, or like I hope my game feels good. Usually my touch isn't very good because I haven't thrown it all. I just throw into a net a bunch. But yeah, looking forward to that, and season's going to be really fun. I just want to take in every moment because last year went by so fast it felt like, and but it was also a bunch of fun when I look back at it. So I want to just cherish every moment and have a good time and just remember why I'm out there.
All right. Well, last week we interviewed Simon, and that was awesome. And I, towards the end of the show, called him out, and I'm like, dude, when you were younger, why were you so skinny? And I'm like, what did I just say? I'm like, blah, 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 like take the words back, like take them back. It was not offensive to Simon, and I want it on record. Like Simon and I are friends.
You know what's funny, Matt?
Yeah, go ahead.
On his vlog, he said, "Oh, I'm sore from going to the gym," and you're only sore when you first start going to the gym. So I think you gave him a little fire and made him go to the gym.
But in all seriousness, I'll say this, like, I'll interview people, like, I can't say, like, oh, I know Isaac so well, or I know Gannon so well. We've had a number of conversations off screen, on screen. Simon is the one who I've talked to the most off screen. And so sometimes I have to remember, like, I'm talking in front of thousands of people. Like, I can't just sometimes say the same thing I would. Like, I can, but then people are just like, you are the worst host ever. And I'm like, listen, just relax. Just relax. Like, he's cool. He's cool.
We have the same issue with the vlogs. I feel like we'll just like be talking, how we always talk without the camera on, and then we're like, oh wait, we can't put that in the vlog. Like, Alden has so much footage of just stuff we can't put in there, but it's funny. But I mean, same thing happens for us. We say something like, oh yeah, we can't really say that, but yeah.
So speaking of the vlogs and Prodigy, I believe this is a contract year for both of y'all. Is it?
Me, not Isaac, I don't think.
Okay, not Isaac. No. Okay, so this is more towards Gannon. Gannon, does that put any additional pressure on you? Because you see you already proved yourself winning USDC, but does that put any additional pressure? Like, okay, I see these people making millions. I could do the same. Like, I have to perform this year.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like I feel like obviously I'm on the contract that I earned when I was after the 2021 season, which was good, but it wasn't like that amazing. I wasn't really selling too many discs. I think I was like 25th in the world or something like that. And then obviously last year I bumped up to 4th in the world and got my USDGC title. So it's definitely a motivation. Obviously, the money is like the second most important thing. Number one is just I want to play good. Like I just want to win really, and then for me the money comes later. Like I don't work or I don't practice just to get money or just to support myself that way. I play good to try to do my best, and that's what satisfies me. So yeah, it's definitely like maybe a little bit of pressure. Like hey, I had a good season. I finished on a good note last year, and this year if I can keep that up, I can get one of those deals because like I said, I'm not on that. I'm getting paid basically like what I signed for, before last year, which, I guess it's obviously under what my skill level is now, but, that's just something to look forward to. And, hopefully I can, get bigger offers at the end of this year. And that'll be definitely an exciting moment for me because, who knows what can happen, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question from me goes to Gannon, I guess. I don't know if it got brought up in the chat or not, and you're going to hear it until the day you die, but people are like, the putting, like it's a new season. We haven't seen you putt for a while. Like the timing of it. I think last time I talked to you, I think we did an interview. You said like, yeah, like I'm kind of figuring it out. I'm working on it. And you've shared your opinions on whether you think time should be a thing, all that, but just like generally with the way the rules are right now, like, has it been a part of your thought process at all going into this year?
Not one bit, because I know I need to speed up for sure. I was just like watching some like live coverage from USDGC, and I really wasn't really ever going over 30 seconds. I think it's just that like stereotype that I have now, where if I take over 30 seconds one or two times, I get destroyed for it. But then if any other player took over 30 seconds, no one's going to say a word about it. So that's just kind of how it's going to be, I feel like. And it's unfortunate that that's how I had to start out. And that's going to take me, I think, a couple of years to get rid of, because some people might not watch and they're like, oh yeah, he's slow. I don't want to watch him because he's slow. And then they don't realize I'm faster. I know like last year at Ledgestone, I made an effort to play like super fast, and I ended up shooting like my second highest rated round of the year, playing like under 20 seconds every single shot. I told myself, okay, I don't care how uncomfortable you feel, just throw the disc. And I'd do like 2 pumps on my putt and then I'd chuck it. And I played super good at Ledgestone. I think I feel like it's not going to be that much of an issue this year. And unless the conditions get crazy windy, I feel like, but I feel more comfortable. I feel like there's just not as much pressure. Or like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like, it's hard to get quicker, I feel like. And obviously you can make that effort, but especially when the moment's big, like, you want to take your time. But I feel like with this year, obviously I haven't played any tournaments, so I have no experience about how it's going to be, but I feel like I'll have no problem just stepping up, getting a decent feel for the putt, and, hopefully take 20 seconds or less every shot again. I feel like that shouldn't be an issue. And same thing on the drives and whatever. But yeah, I definitely think about it a little bit, but it's not something that I'm like actively trying to fix, right. I guess.
No, that's good. We ask the questions that the people want to know. I think it's interesting, but I don't expect anything different from you. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Pressure comes from the fans, which is interesting in all sports. It's not usually from the competitors. It's like the outcry of the vocal minority. So it's interesting.
Yeah, you're trying to win over the respect of the the fans. And
yep. It was
a couple years, I feel like.
Yeah, Chris Dickerson for a while was on the jump putt. Like he was making headlines in the fans chats. Like, oh, it's unfair. And it's like, really? Is it? But yeah, so that's interesting. Hey, has anybody called you out for anything, Isaac, in the last year? Like, man, he needs to fix that.
Not that I know of.
Wow.
Not off the top of my head anyway.
Lucky guy. Just keep that going.
He's lucky. I guess that's the
theme.
theme.
Fly under the radar.
Evan's laughing.
Isaac's rage is he keeps folding his putters in half.
Oh yeah,
every single putt. At the
got that
Pro
on
Finals.
camera.
No, Isaac, I
Crushed it.
saw that live at MVP Open. No, I was saying that because Gannon keeps calling him super lucky. That's what I was saying. Evan.
Yeah,
I wasn't-
that was funny. That's what I was
Oh,
saying.
I thought you were saying I was insulting him. I was like, dude, what?
No,
Gannon's
I
been
thought it
saying
was-
this whole time.
I thought it was a good burn, and we were just getting in on the
No, yeah,
razzing
Isaac,
ourselves.
he didn't go forehand on hole 18. It was a 30, I don't know, 60-foot up shot. No, a little more. And he bent the putter respectfully. I will give him that. It was just quick. It was quick bend into his chest, and he put it in the bag. I was the only one that saw it. So
I zipped it up in the
yeah, exactly.
in the side pocket. So that putter was ruined for the rest of the
You
season.
zipped
Yeah,
it up.
that was your like little like comfort blanket, you know, like after every like you can see it like in person. I'm not sure if you see it on camera, but like I played like a decent bit with you tournaments like last season or just from what I know playing with you in practice rounds or whatever, like it's folded in like fourths. Like you can see each section of the putter is just like destroyed. You have it ready in your left hand whenever you miss a putt, and you're just like,
Yep.
Oh, so it's not even a throwing putter. It's
a
just
range
one you
putter.
have.
no, like he never
Well,
uses it.
it was.
It's a
It
range
was
putter.
until
Okay.
Maple Hill. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was the first one to witness your
Yes.
rage.
All
Wow,
right.
I feel honored.
Yep.
I was literally the only one there. It was crazy.
Wow,
This is
right
Paul
place, right
Kranz was
time.
on your card. That's why I was watching.
All right.
I watched
It's true.
Paul finish.
Yep.
Man, we're pretty much at the end of the show, but I thought of not a segment, but a question we talked about earlier from a segment called, what was it? Cool ideas that are probably bad ideas. Like it was something like that. And one of them was, what if you had like, you know how in football they got 2 chances to like, what do they call it? Challenge a rule.
Challenge.
So in a similar mindset, what if you had 2 times where you could take extra time? Like, is that a good idea where you're like, listen, like I'm going to use one of those times right now. I need a 2 minutes as opposed to a 30 seconds. Like I need to do something special here. Like, but you only get it 2 times. What do you think of that idea? Gannon was shaking his head. Yes.
I think it'd be fun. It adds some like intensity, or like it's kind of cool, I guess. I mean, we get in like these tricky situations in the woods. Like, hey, I need 2 minutes now. You know,
Mhm.
like I just in case.
Yeah.
Or like a tough lie, like a really
Yeah.
tough lie. Like you need extra time
Yeah.
to try to adjust or get ready.
Yeah, and then they put
yeah.
like
Well, yeah.
go ahead.
I
Gannon.
remember at like Idlewild, like I was getting crap for like putting 2 towels down on my feet. I mean, Isaac knows like hole 18 was a slip and slide. I couldn't even stand up
terrible.
without falling over, and I was getting crap for taking too long on that. My actual shot once I was set was like 15 seconds, but like, you know, I probably took over a minute trying to get my feet set so I wouldn't, you know, it's an unsafe lie, I guess. Like, you know, maybe like the tournament director's like, oh, conditions are not as safe today. We'll give you guys 15 more seconds per shot. Something stupid like that. I don't know.
That's where it turns into like, again, cool idea is probably pretty
Yeah.
bad. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you'd have to figure out how that would change the pace of play. If everybody's able to do that 2 times per round and take 2 minutes, it might affect it. But anyways, you wouldn't have to use it either. So it's just
But so here's my idea. What I was gonna say is, you know, what would really build drama instead of calling people on like foot faults and stuff. You have like a challenge flag, and you just
Yeah.
throw it at them.
Just
And you don't say a word, and they're like, "What?"
Crap.
And then I guess you do have to say something, but
Yeah.
it's not like, "Oh, you foot faulted," and they're like,
Yeah.
"That'd be."
I have an idea I want to like just put out there. I've talked to a couple friends about this, but like I think it'd be cool if the Pro Tour put on an Elite Series event where like you have to be there. So like let's say it starts on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You have to be there Monday like afternoon, and you get 3 discs. They give you 3 Pro Tour branded discs, and you have that like week to learn the discs and learn the course, and then whoever, you know, then you play from there.
Does everyone have the same
Are-
discs?
Yeah, everyone has the same disc.
Okay.
Everyone gets the Pro Tour mid-range driver, putter, whatever. Or
Are they
fairway,
random?
or-
Yeah, it
Like,
could
is
be
it a
anything.
stable driver?
well, it's whatever they decide like that week. You know, like maybe they did it like multiple times in a season. Like one time they do like a super overstable driver, flippy mid,
I see.
and then a beadless putter, and then the next time it's a beaded putter, overstable mid. Like so it would change like depending on the week or whatever. But like I mean, everyone basically has to show their skill set, and then we actually have an even like playing field. You know, because I feel like there's definitely an advantage to having certain discs. Like I feel like I have a huge advantage, and Isaac too throwing the A2.
I
Like
was hoping you'd say that.
yeah, disc is like a cheat code, but other people don't have that. So like, you know,
Yeah.
like
That's
I don't
what
know.
I'm
I think it'd be super fun just to try out one time.
All-Star
It'd be
games. Pitch it. It's in
I
a
think
month.
that's
Yeah,
a-
All Star. That should be the All
That would be
Star.
fun.
The singles round should just be with 3 discs about the Pro Tour brand.
Yeah, I think that's like more like a fun one-time event, but I do think it's a good idea. I'm
The
with you.
entire season next year is just
Yeah.
Pro Tour.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were saying like a side event that you would do.
Yeah.
Maybe
Simon
every,
just
every week,
signed
every couple weeks.
some massive deal, and then it's like,
Yeah.
this is the year. Like, you can't throw your new plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Only.
bringing up Simon, like, is it going to be an over molded driver? Like, that's tough. By
Yeah.
what brand is the
Yeah.
the Pro Tour
Yeah.
branded disc?
Well, for what it's
But,
worth,
hey,
as we get ready
I like
to wrap up, like Japan Open, you like the 150 class, like that was kind of that. I remember watching it back in the day, going like, "That's pretty cool." Like they're all throwing different plastic than they usually do, so that's
Mhm.
kind of neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
Not the same thing
That
you're
is-
saying, but like it was just like everyone was having different than they're used
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, you have to learn. I mean, you have to learn a completely new bag. So
Oh, or Alden can just vlog it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
gu-
It's
you
the
guys-
Alden event.
You guys got to do that.
The Alden Pro Tour event. We have to get like on an off week. We get every single player.
Yes.
And we like, yeah, we just like. I mean, we can go to like a random like Franklin discs. We all get a Franklin starter pack. Okay, first of all, if you guys haven't seen the new Franklin starter packs, they're actually insane.
Good.
They're
Like, good?
yeah, it comes with
Yeah.
it comes with a 13-speed driver and premium
It's
plastic.
like a
and
nuke.
yeah, it's like a nuke. Like I was throwing it, just
Shoot.
jacking around, and it was like literally going as far as my like foul cord. Like
all
do
right.
they look different than the old Franklin disc? Like, if I go to like Dick's Sporting Goods or Walmart or
Yeah.
something right now and pick them up, like, how do I know I'm getting the right one?
yeah, so it's like star plastic basically, and it's only
Okay.
$20. It comes with the putter is like an AVR. The mid is the worst disc ever, but the driver is like the mid's like whack. The mid's weird. It has a bunch of flashing on it, but the driver is like insane. The driver like if you gave me a nuke and that disc, like there'd be no difference. It like I was throwing it just jacking around. I mean, like I said, and
Okay.
it had good stability. Like I was getting like slight hyzer, flip to flat, and it'd fade. Like it was just like I couldn't believe it. And it was $20. Like that's crazy.
Can we beat you to it? Like, Matt,
Yeah,
Nick's gonna be
we can
back
do it.
this week.
Oh, we could.
Like,
yeah.
let's
record a
find somewhere
video.
without snow. And yeah, thanks, Gannon, for the idea.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if our partner website, Try Disc, if they have that in there, we can search
Franklin.
out like what's like the Comet for Franklin. Like I can just find my
Wait.
comparable disc.
This one mid range that they offer.
Yeah.
it's the one mid range they have.
Like, this is it. Are there no?
The
That's
second
it.
This is your only option. This is
Yeah.
only one.
So should I genuinely reach out to them, Franklin, and be like, "Can you sponsor me and see if I can get a Franklin?"
Franklin
sponsor?
is too big for you.
Yeah.
They're too big.
Bro,
They're
disc golf
ginormous.
division, they're too small for me.
What?
What?
I'm bigger than Franklin. I don't know what I'm saying.
Franklin's like a huge sporting
I
goods
know.
company.
No, but that'd be
Yeah.
funny. What if someone got sponsored by Franklin disc golf?
Well, that was a joke
Try
for a
it.
little while.
Well,
right?
I was
Like,
I was
actually-
actually thinking about like they should hire a player if they wanted to that knows what they're talking about, like to help design discs. Like they could actually like make good, like the person designing could make really good money off of that. I feel like, especially like just filling their new starter pack. Like if that's the plastic they use, like that's actually good plastic.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, the question
Is it
the question
PDGA
is, are
approved?
they
I don't
Are
think it is. I don't think it is.
okay? Are they the ones making it? Or are they just having like Yakun or like Innova or someone
It's
make it and
definitely-
then they're just
Definitely
slapping
not. It's definitely not like any other manufacturer. It's definitely like a different type of plastic.
Okay.
Because it's like star plastic, just cheap, but it's not like that cheap. Like it's still pretty nice. I'm not sure, like, because that I know it might be the Falcor, like that's what it's called, but it's spelled Falkor.
yeah,
instead
no,
of
yeah,
way.
they
No
have,
way.
yeah, they are called the Falcor.
I'm not
yeah.
buying it.
No, 100%. They registered the Falcor
Franklin?
on PDGA.
No,
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
PDGA approved, is it?
No, they have a disc called the Falcor before
yeah, it's called
Kales.
Falcor, but it says it's a K instead of a C.
Franklin
on the-
does
Franklin
because I
disc.
just didn't find it on Try Disc.
No,
and-
it was like, wasn't it like the Albatross and
No, there's a Falcor.
That was the,
something else?
those are the
The
original
Sparrow.
ones. The original ones were the Albatross and the owl, maybe like
I think it's a Sparrow.
Sparrow and
That's-
Owl. I
Sparrow
think
sounds
were
right.
three.
Yeah.
because the mid range and the driver were like identical, and they were like the flippiest disc ever, and they weren't even good. Like they're garbage, obviously. And I think they had a second edition, which isn't the one I'm talking about, which had like base plastic drivers, like an actual driver, but it's still kind of weird. And then the newest one was like actually like good discs, I feel like.
This one that is most new that I see, Hydro from Franklin Sports. It was approved April of last year. So
I know they have a Falcor. Called the Falcor.
Yeah, the Falcor is definitely a disc.
Okay.
From Franklin, not Prodigy.
Well, what's funny is, well, it's not funny. We need to send them the invoice after this.
I'm emailing
free
Franklin.
ad placement. I mean, come on. We're all giving them the time of their life there. We need their money.
They're gonna sponsor me.
All right.
Here first.
Yeah, they sponsor like professional baseball players.
What you don't know, Gannon, is that now all Franklin sales are going to go through the roof because you said that. Like, you need to send the invoice now.
Okay, I will.
Wait, what if you're that player you're talking about after the contract year? You're the Franklin guy.
Dude, Franklin's just paying me like $15 million a year to design discs.
Yes,
you do.
All right, I'm gonna come in and say it because they have two sets on their website. They have one where it has the putter is the owl, mid-range sparrow, driver albatross, and they're apparently 167 and then 160 and 160. They have the next set. Oh, I opened the same link. It doesn't have any disc names at all.
It's just Franklin disc golf.
It just says 169 to 160.
I do see some Night Owl.
And I'm here for it.
Night Owl, Sparrow, Albatross. There you go.
Those are the original ones. Those are from the original pack that was terrible. Actually, the Owl wasn't that bad. The Night Owl wasn't that bad.
We're still talking about Franklin.
The Sparrow and the Albatross were terrible, but if you guys can see pictures of that new set, the driver should be blue.
Yeah,
pink and orange.
Yeah.
And it just says driver, mid-dash range, and putter.
Huh.
So is the driver
I'm making fun of them for the
Falcor?
mid-range.
So
it has no name.
The Falcor was in the other pack. I think there's 3 packs.
Okay.
All right. Well, we've talked about Franklin enough. I appreciate the banter. I mean, it was fun, and I'm looking it up on the website and everything. But we're like, Franklin, baby. All right. We've gone long enough. Isaac, I said, hey, come on for a short show. And here he is an hour later.
I know. I didn't know you're bringing Gannon.
No, I didn't know either.
We didn't either.
I just like joined the chat, and then he was like, hey, Gannon, you want to join? I'm like, sure, why not? I've got nothing to do.
I was like, Gannon, join, let's go. And here we are.
So, but you provided us a lot of great, we're trying to do better to our listening audience with like grabbing reels and doing all the cool, trendy stuff with them. But we've got full-time jobs. It takes us a little longer. But like, you gave us some great reel bites, Isaac, and same to you, Gannon. We're gonna make you famous if you're not already. But so follow us on social media. We're glad that you guys joined us. Evan, you had a quick little pitch for something coming up. You want to share that?
Oh yeah, February 4th, we have the Statmando charity trivia show. Saturday night, 7 p.m. Tune in, having thousands of dollars donated to charity. It's at least over 1,000. We'll see what the final number is, but encouraging everyone else to donate what they can as well. We'll have some contestants on guessing some trivia answers to earn points to donate to charity. It's going to be a good time, a lot of fun, good trivia. If you like trivia, tune in. If you like listening to people try to guess trivia, tune in as well. Or if you like charity, tune in.
Yeah, both of you. I see the hat on Isaac, Double G Craft Jerky, and Gannon. That was your big announcement this year, trying to fool everybody.
That was the huge announcement.
Yeah,
arguably the biggest announcement of the season.
So it was fun. But I see you both are sponsored, right, by Double G Craft Jerky. Okay, so they will be one of the charities of choice at this event, and it will be streaming at the Nick and Matt Show YouTube channel. It'll be here.
That's the most important part right there. Yeah.
So you can check it out
live on this channel on a Saturday night, February 4th, 7 p.m. Eastern.
And it will not look like the Nick and Matt Show. That's the best part. We're actually investing a lot of work to make it new and improved specifically for a trivia game show. So, all right. Well, we could talk about other brands and other companies and wild ideas like putting lotion on your hand before throwing a driver, make disc golf harder that way. But I think we've gotten to the end. Thank you very much for your time, Isaac. I will be thinking about you now the night before the All-Star event, thinking how nervous you are, and I'll send you a text and say, you got this. And
well, thank you.
And Gannon, it was exciting watching your year, and now you're telling us that you're going to come out, well, you believe that you can come out in better situation.
Hopefully.
I know, but you said that. I'm going to clip that reel earlier. Say Gannon is ready.
Okay.
And you don't have school.
I don't have school. No school. I'm so happy.
Congrats on graduating somehow
Full-time
before the
disc golf.
summer.
I know. Well, I know. I'm like the smartest person ever, so they let me go early. Isaac, shut up.
Perfect. All right. Well, we appreciate it. Like, in all seriousness, we are glad that you're friends. We're calling you friends of the Nick and Matt Show. We have the right to do that, and we can make it if we want it. So, but we do appreciate it. When you're back in town, maybe we'll hang out. You don't have to do an interview. We'll just kind of have pizza or something, and we'll hang out. MVP Open or something. All right, guys. Thanks for your time. I'm gonna let you go. Have a great evening. Peace out.
Thank you.
You guys.
All right, intern Ben. What have we done?
That was an awesome show.
You know why it was awesome?
Ben's favorite disc golfer ever.
It was awesome because Gannon Buhr.
Dude, he's one.
This
he's
guy
one of my
talks
favorites.
nonstop about Gannon, like all times of the day. It's
Guys,
just like, oh yeah, but Gannon does this, and I'm like, cool, Ben. Thanks.
No, that's not true. I can expose you because he was talking about the 30 seconds thing at Cogs. You were calling me Gannon Buhr because I was taking it forever.
Yes,
yeah,
we were calling you
exactly.
that.
So
Yeah.
exposed back,
We
even
all
though I
were.
don't talk about Gannon like that. His form is just butter, and I try to emulate it. That's all.
But
that's fun.
That was unplanned. I hope you didn't feel slighted, Isaac. I'll hit you up later. It was unplanned, and I felt like we had already gotten through about 20 minutes with Isaac, and I thought it would be fun to kind of like do this like surprise, your buddy's here, and it looked like it was chill. So we went long.
Hey, you want to know a fun fact that didn't get a chance to bring up, and that's okay. We had him on for long enough. Isaac Robinson won the 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour Rookie of the Year. Gannon Buhr won it the year before in 2021.
And Luke Humphreys at some point, I think maybe before.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it. I don't know. But isn't that crazy that Isaac's talking about how he's 7 years older than Gannon or something like that?
Yeah.
Wins the rookie year after him. So one of their friend groups gonna have to win it in 2023. Don't know who.
What do you think about me having a new music box?
I love it.
Give us a little rappy, dude.
And there's no Nick on to say he doesn't approve. So Nick, we're going with it.
Nick and Matt. Hey chat, it's Nick and Matt. This is a rap from Into Ben. Yeah, I'm always gonna win against Evan in disc golf.
Now you got to give us the hook. Oh, you never know what disc golf.
It's a Nick and Matt show. Everybody come along.
See, that's what I'm talking.
And bring your bros and gals.
Why are the
and bring all your pals. It's Nick and Matt show.
Why are the live chat? Why is the live chat like?
It's a Nick and Matt show.
Why is the live chat like gone? All the live viewers gone. The show's crashed. It just said no connection. No.
Matt, can I mention one more thing?
Yes, you can too.
Just my one
this
thing.
This is the place to do it. Now is the time.
That first disc golf convention on the East Coast, Northeast Disc Golf Expo. I'm running it. Overthrow Disc Golf will be there, giving free form reviews. Robbie C. Disc Golf will be there, giving free in the bag placements. Jesse from Trash Panda will be there, and a bunch of Discmania, MVP, Thought Space, Smuggler's Notch, C1 Disc, 978, sponsored by them and presented by Maple Hill. Northeast Disc Golf Expo. Check it out. Follow me. I'd love to see you all there. That's all.
When is it happening?
Oh, March 18th. Thanks, Evan. March 18th and 19th, 2023. It's pretty soon. And, there's a lot of vendors hitting me up even more. And so it's going to be packed. I just listed off like the most popular ones that you would know. So
all of them are popular in Boxborough, Massachusetts.
Boxborough, Mass. At the Boxborough Regency. Thank you.
And yeah, I'll be there. And I'll be.
Nick, I didn't mention you in the creators.
Never get mentioned ever.
It's okay.
Oh, and Statman will be there. Evan and Nick and Matt will have a booth there.
We hang out. It's kind of like Gannon and Isaac. They're like, they razz each other too. So I don't know. I'm still trying to think what I would do there. I mean, is the Nick and Matt show experience a thing? Like I bring a green screen, make it look like you're in studio.
Well,
like you could sit down and it would look like you're in studio kind of thing, and we could chat.
Or you could interview people.
Or record, judge that disc golfer like constantly, just nonstop. Get hundreds content for years to come.
Yeah,
maybe
you can get some executives in there.
Actually, and you have overthrow disc golf there.
Yep.
So like I could go over and like video them like doing their form. And then we could be like, that's their form. Like, here's their question and answers. Now we judge them. Yeah, we could do it.
Ooh.
I agree.
All right.
Bring something.
This is not our longest show, but it's getting up there in the top percentages. We're glad that everyone joined us. And man, we're just gonna keep bringing it. The off season isn't really a thing anymore of our podcast. Like we pretty much just went straight through a little bit around Christmas.
Wow, good point.
But you just kind of just go and you're like, it's a grind because you don't have all the same content. So everything is like drama. Like someone said something, we need to talk about that tonight. And then you're hoping for drama on the course during the season because at least it's easier to talk about.
Have any of y'all noticed, at least for me, like since there's no live disc golf, I'm starting to scroll on YouTube even further now.
You're finding content like Ben Kenny's channel.
Yeah, I just dropped a video, 4,000 views on it. Make it over Maple Hill, win money. Check it out. But
$20 to make it over the pond.
The excitement was real.
Okay, but if you're looking for live disc golf, there's plenty of coverage to watch. I mean,
I've just watched a lot. That's what I'm saying.
South Florida Open. The disc golf guy did. Shelly Sharp just this weekend.
Oh yeah, Shelly Sharp dropped.
That's doing their putting game. They got new things in the works. Like,
I was going to ask Gannon about the putting games on Jomez. I forgot to do that.
There's just you got stuff every single week.
Simon Lazat's disc golf travel thing.
Random.
I know it's only released like with Jomez Patreon right now, but it's going to be coming out.
Wait, Simon uses this mic, which is my mic.
I dare you to lick that home.
Simon.
That was weird.
Oh my. He uses his mic and it's my microphone. I'm never washing this mic. Let's go.
All right. That is pretty
I'll wash my mic when I'm done with it though.
I'm joking. We do love you, Simon.
Why is it so weird?
I know what you're trying to get with that, but it doesn't work. Like,
yo, this is what's happening. I am auctioning this off. Simon Lazat's germs are on this. There's gonna be an eBay bid. Just let me know, and it'll highest bidder it'll go to.
There goes all of your
microphone
chances
still
of
works right now.
Simon.
I'm learning new things.
Down the drain. All right, we got to shut it down. This is getting crazy. This is supposed to be the after show that nobody knows about, but it's happening live. So let's shut it down. All right. So Nick usually says, tell someone you love them. Hopefully he's in town by now. Nick, if you're in the chat, you didn't say anything, but he was supposed to be arriving. It's a long snow day traveling. So hopefully he did, but he usually says, tell someone you love them. And so do that. And then we're going to close it out. Whoa.
Sorry.
Ben, you're awesome.
Thank you.
Evan, you're awesome. Our guests tonight, Paige, awesome. Isaac, Gannon, you're all awesome. Chat, live chat, drop some likes. We love you. Peace out, everybody. Boom.
Boom.
The Nick and Matt Show, a disc golf podcast designed for you, the disc golfer. Find the Nick and Matt Show on your favorite podcast platforms or join the conversation live on YouTube.